die. When the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll rot into smoke when the fire is fierce. Know yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the
Oh, okay, my mic was muted. Whoops, that's on me. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump into this pre-game discussion. What I'll be doing is I'm gonna kind of minimize this, put this to the side, and then I'm gonna bring in this. Let's see. Okay. All right, so first of all, what's up, everyone? Long time no see. Gosh, it's just so many things are happening, and even for today's broadcast, I couldn't reach Chairman, so he won't be unless he is able to come on to the broadcast and reach out to me. I will have my Discord open just in case he's able to join us. But anyway, so we missed a lot. We really did. So but I was trying to keep up with kind of like the standings. I know Flash Wolves are in first place along with G-Rex and J-Team, I believe. So, and there's something, I had a bookmark that, and I really like this bookmark. This is such a nice website. If you ever want to follow like other competitive kind of league, basically this site allows you to basically kind of track all of champion picks, compositions, and stuff across regions. And so I like to use it to kind of track what are kind of like the meta shifts, and then maybe like kind of picks that are coming up. But one of the things I was suspecting when 8.3 came into play immediately was the dropping of the priority drop of Rise. That was the Realm, Warp, and Stopwatch combo being completely gutted, which I was super glad for because it gave Rise an obnoxious amount of safety. But with Rise priority going down, and also there's a nerf to Azir, his poke being gutted as well. Where is... How come there's no LMS? What the heck? Do I have to go through here? Yeah. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, so like... so I was suspecting Galio to remain prominent as a pick. Rise and Azir, of course, would still be strong, but just nowhere near as strong a priority. We've seen a lot of strength in just roaming from the mid lane with Galio being brought back. Should actually probably turn the music down so it's not blaring. But one of the things I kind of wanted to look at was the not only mid lane priority, but also the bot lane priority. What were the bot lane picks that were going to come back? Because we did see that on 8.2, they took away Relic Shield, but we didn't see like an increase in lane bullies. And then on 8.3, Ezreal, Mystic Shot, and Kleptomancy were both nerfed in a sense. But we saw still a lot. If you looked at Korea, for example, we still saw a crap ton of Ezreal being played. And it's just at the highest level, players that can pilot Ezreal insanely well is they can land and thread in Mystic Shots, you know, and still make the Kleptomancy rune work to accelerate Ezreal's power spike and hit his mid game basically at the time of kind of like an early game like one item power spike, even though it's actually 2 items with the Muramana and the Iceborne Gauntlet. So but in other regions we've seen how even professional Ezreal players cannot pilot the champion as well as to a degree as Korean players. So I was imagining for teams like G-Rex and yeah, I think G-Rex is the only one that kind of stands out. Stitch would be the only one that would have no trouble still piloting Ezreal as a champion. But with that, I think Varus Callista would still be priority picks, as well as Xayah. If Rakan is open, then you can still go for Xayah and Rakan. If we've seen Hong Kong Attitude with Unified and Kaiwing tried before. I wanted to see if any other have tried to do it. Let's see. So, is this 8.3? Let me just... Let's take a look here. By the way, what did we miss yesterday? So G-Rex played versus AHQ. Let's kind of just take a moment to look. So bans, Zoe, Azir, Galio. Doesn't surprise me. Looks like they were just trying to target Candy and try to take away a lot of his priority picks. But looks like with the Callista ban, and since they only banned mid laners, I'm assuming they went for Ezreal first pick rotation. They probably then just picked up the Rise and maybe the Braum on the backhand. I wish it would show me what was, or okay, wait, maybe does it show me what was pick priority? Unfortunately, there's no no match discussions or post-match discussions on Reddit. That's something I would like to see or figure out how to set up, because that would be really nice to just have the post-match discussion on Reddit to even put more exposure for the LMS as a region. Is it gonna Damn, that's a shame. Well, yeah, it doesn't doesn't tell me what was the pick order, but I'm gonna guess. I would say Rise and Braum, because if you're gonna target like 3 mid laners towards Candy, and you're most likely trying to basically take the best mid laner off of that S tier list afterwards. And for me, the tier list is more like Galio and Zoe, then Azir and Rise, and then you have stuff like Talia, Corki, Kassadin for certain counter matchups. We've seen Syndra's pop out, more so now that Stopwatch has been nerfed in some ways, and I think we're going to actually see an increase in Syndra priority coming into 8.4. Now that Stopwatch, the time to activate has been increased from 6 minutes to 10 minutes, which means there's actually a larger window for the Syndra piloter to actually use the unleashed power, all-in potential kill pressure from Syndra once she actually hits level 6. Because mid laners mostly, especially if they try to go for an item back so that they have even a larger kill pressure advantage, will hit level 6 around 6 minutes, which is when Stopwatch usually came online. And, as soon as you see Syndra ult to you, you pop Stopwatch, and then boom, Syndra's first huge, Syndra, in order for Syndra to actually, function well against champions like Azir or Corki, you need to get that early kill snowball pressure going, right? Otherwise, late game, Syndra will still do tons of damage, but her range compared to stuff like Azir or Corki or Rise, she's not as safe. She's kind of a mid-range burst mage with some control aspects to her in team fights. So, with that being said, it's much better for you if you can accelerate your early game, get into that mid-game power spike, pair it with your Morellos and Haunting Guys, Sorcerer Pen Boots, double magic penetration, be able to roam, push out the mid-wave, have priority because you're winning. go to the side lanes, kill ADC or kill the support or kill the jungler if it's like if there's a counter gank opportunity, and you that's your win condition as Syndra, right? So looks like G-Rex just straight up won, because even with all those bans, Candy probably just played Talia, and Talia is just so freaking good, especially in a roaming meta where you push out your wave and then you just assist. I mean, because if you look at G-Rex, like Candy and PK are such competent threats themselves, so that, I mean, I'm pretty sure that you could just snowball either side lane and still be fine if Candy's not the primary like carry. And we saw Skarner picked up too, which I think is pretty cool. So I'm guessing the Skarner priority is starting to go up now that Sejuani was also nerfed with the mobility nerfs to her Q. Jarvan has also been nerfed already to the armor, so the priority has gone down a bit. And it looks like they actually just, I think Skarner was a pick here because, of course, Kha'Zix and Zac were banned. And so they probably just took J4 on the first rotation when they realized that they were trying to target out the junglers. But let's see. And then HQ tried to go for Kassadin, counterpick into Corki. Clearly it didn't work. Feels bad. Oh no, wait, I'm completely reading this wrong. AHQ won. Oh my lord, wait a minute. Cause I just, oh shit. Alright, that's my bad. Reading skills 10 out of 10, right? What was the score? Oh, hot damn. Alright, well, I honestly did not expect G-Rex to lose. But oh, it looks like they got On back. Alright, God bless. Yeah, so we were seeing a problem with On, or not with On, but they had like a stand-in ADC or a sub, and it was just so weird. I was just like, what? Why are you even here? So, alright. Here's what we'll actually do. So let's go back to the tournaments, and let's just look at the standings. Okay, so Flashful 10-2, J Team 9-4, G-Rex 8-5. Mad Team is now 7-7. Wow, that's awesome. That's so awesome. That's super good for Mad Team. Machi Esports 6-8, Team Afro 5-7, AHQ. So AHQ is actually at the bottom with Hong Kong Attitude. How did this happen? Well, actually, I'll tell you what happened. AHQ had a stand-in ADC that was just not the caliber of player they needed, so feels bad. All right, so let's look at Mad Team's past compositions. So when they played against Team Afro, they actually lost. Okay, but then they played against Hong Kong Attitude during the week that we were gone. So they lost this week. So what did they play? So the Uni Boy was trying to play Zoe, and he got counterpicked basically and held down by Malzahar. Looks like Epic did a good job on Kha'Zix as well. Wow, Maokai was picked. Oh, it looks like Sion and Gangplank were banned every game, and they wanted a tank. Yeah, okay, this makes sense. So since you're not running a tank jungler, you need at least 2 tanks in this meta to still do well past the mid game. Because if you go past the mid game and you don't have a significant lead, then you won't really be able to survive against like any other standard team fighting composition. All right, well, wasn't the most of a team discussion. I just wanted to kind of like, give a chance for if anyone did want to kind of speak up. But let's jump into series. Mad Team versus Flash Wolves. I'll just be straight up honest. I don't think Mad Team will beat Flash Wolves. I will not be surprised, however, if they take a game off. So we'll see. So until we get in the game, I'm just going to go ahead and mute my microphone real quick and just make sure that everything else is good to go. All right, we are back. All right. For those who are just joining in right now, this is the third day of week 5 of the LMS. We got Mad Team versus Flash Wolves. And first of all, for those also joining, we're back. It's good to be back. It's actually just me tonight, Mark Rafa Arambide. I tried to reach out to Chairman. I didn't know if I was actually going to be able to do this cast tonight, and we haven't been able to kind of keep in contact with each other for a while. He did have a big life event and moving, so that has just been kind of difficult. And the past couple of days, there's just been a lot of, actually the past week and a half, there's just been a lot of life stuff that has been basically preventing me from being able to make time to do the scheduled broadcasts at this time of night. It is basically 4 in the morning for me right now. So, and with a lot of things happening basically throughout the day, there's no time to sleep, and unfortunately I just get super exhausted and worn out, and just other things have to take priority. But we're back, or I'm back, and we are looking forward to getting Chairman back once he can, once he settles in and everything. But I've been able to basically take care of a lot of things while I was gone. Just kind of sorting out my life and whatnot. So we should be returning to our consistent regular broadcast. But anyway, let's get into game. So Mad Team versus Flash Wolves. So starting rosters, kind of the let's see. Should be standard stuff. I think we still saw whatchamacallit. Let's see. So Flash Wolves we had Hanabi in the top lane. I believe Muujin in the jungle. Let's see. Now, of course, Maple, Betty, and Sword Art mid lane and bot lane respectively. believe should be that should be the case. Let's see. Yep, we got Mujin, and there's Maple. So we are still on 8.3. Yeah, past couple of days I've been playing a lot of solo queue myself, trying to get a feel for patch 8.4. Unfortunately, since it's just dropped, we're not quite there yet in terms of kind of what meta shifts. But so far from 8.3, we haven't seen actually a drop in priorities for many of the jungle champion pools. Other than ADC, we've seen. Actually, I thought ADC was going to be changing a lot. I thought the Ezreal priority would go down with the Mystic shots and the Klepto nerfs. I thought potentially stuff like I knew Kog'Maw priority would go down since he got his W damage got nerfed so that he can't spike as hard as Guinsoo's Rageblade, but it would make Var's priority go up because then he's kind of the next best, alright, hyperscaling ADC, but also spikes off of one item only and is not as hard to pilot as Ezreal is. But in Korea, you see that the Ezreal priority didn't go down at all, just because I think at the top level, Ezreal ADCs can basically weave in those Mystic shots really well during laning phase and still accelerate their gold lead to at the same rate as they did before, and still reach that Iceborne Gauntlet, more amount of power spike, relatively around the same time as other ADCs would be able to hit their one item power spike. So, but looking at these two teams, one thing I do want to see is I think kind of a huge matchup discrepancy will be the jungle, because Mujin has been really interesting for Flash Wolves. So we've seen a lot of really risky plays coming out from him, and they've worked out. And then we've seen a lot of just kind of weird characteristic plays for Flash Wolves. Because you have to remember that Mujin, or the jungler before, Karsa, played around a lot of bot side. But when we did see Mujin start out and debut on Flash Wolves in the beginning of the split, he was playing around Hanabi, he was playing around MMD. It was actually one of the few times where we actually saw MMD do and perform really well. So but then Mujin will throw you a curveball. He'll invade recklessly without Maple or Hanabi's assistance, and yet still come out on top in 1v1s in certain situations, especially if he is running that Kha'Zix jungle. Seems to be his preferred favorite pick, as he does want to be able to exploit and carry the jungle on his own, but he is still willing to play the tank if he needs to, which in his case has just been the Jarvan. Actually, just looking at his records, he also has been picking up the Camille jungle in a few of his victories, and I think the Camille jungle is actually just really strong pick that I think more regions should look to adapt to if they can make it work. Because the thing about Camille jungle and why it's so strong is it's not just the gank power from the hookshot max, where you're able to have so many gank paths that you can creatively use by using the walls and terrain to get yourself into position. You can also flash the hookshot mid-air to guarantee that hit stun onto a priority target for the gank. But it's also a flex pick, because Camille is just as strong in the jungle as it is top lane. It is one of the picks that can really snowball and take off. It can 1v2 if it's, has that Trinity Force power spike relatively well ahead. If you've been watching the EU LCS, Otawamne did something like this from Splice. He was able to 1v2. I'm trying to remember the team that he did it against. I don't know. They looked boosted when he did it, though. So it was really awesome to see. So, and I think Hanabi has been stepping up a lot in terms of being the starting top laner. And it feels bad for MMD to have this new guy kind of step in and be insanely having more starting time and performing better than you. But I mean, whenever we do see MMD come in, sometimes he looks good if Mugen provides him a lot of assistance. Otherwise, he's just there. And Hanabi has just been a better role player. He's been able to play the Gnar, Ornn when he needs to. And then when he did have to play a carry such as the Camille or the Vlad, he's done it enough, or he's played the role successfully enough to just basically be like, yep, I'm just doing my job. I'm not sure if I would say Hanabi is the best top laner at this point. I still think Ziv is by far someone who can go the extra distance. If everyone on HQ is down, like mid lane is losing, bot lane's losing, jungle's losing, Ziv is like the only top laner in the LMS. Maybe PK from G-Rex, I would also, or even Rest from J-Team. I think those three are the only ones that are going to be like, no. I'm going to bring the team back from the depths of this, the pit that we're kind of in, right? Oh, man, I just want to get into the game. Oh, it's just been so long. Again, thank you everyone to tuning in. I know it's probably going to be tough. I know, it's like, man, trying to bait us again into watching the stream, and then you guys are going to go AWOL on us again. It's like, no, that's... I mean, if it does happen, I mean, it's just, unfortunately, life stuff does happen. But, I've been trying to take care of a lot of things in my personal life. So, for the next at least month, I can basically be here to cast all the games. Whether the same can be said for Chairman, I can't say on his behalf. But I'm looking forward to seeing if he can come back. And I think he did express at some point when he was moving to China that he should be able to come back at least for the Saturday and the Sunday games for sure, once he does settle in. So it'll be nice to have my friend back on the mic with me. So looks like the analysts are all predicting Flash Wolves as I would as well. Doesn't take that much to just be like, yep, 10-2 record versus 7-8 record. I mean, who I mean, who would you pick? Just based on stats alone. If you didn't know anything about the players, I mean, you obviously go with the higher winning percentage team, right? And just Mad Team has just had their overall macro problems and communication and synergy and commitment issues. Sometimes they will snowball and get themselves a lead, but they don't know how to necessarily close out the game most of the times, at least from the games that I remember. And Flash Wolves have just been much more macro, or they have been more sound macro-wise. They've been mechanically dominant in all their roles. And Maple has actually had a brilliant comeback season. I think he was lacking a lot last year, especially when it came to Worlds. He wasn't the most dominant mid laner in his group. But I think Maple's just been doing a lot better. I think this meta shift favors him. I think his Azir is really good. I think his Rise is also... I mean, his Azir and Rise, which are kind of the staple meta picks right now, are just really good. I see that he's actually... Looks like in some games that I missed, he's pulled out LeBlanc and Cassiopeia, which is exciting. I always love seeing new picks come out from Maple. And I'm really excited to see what Maple will do on patch 8.4, which for the LMS will not be for, I believe, 2 weeks. Because for LMS and LCK, and I think for LPL, patch changing to the next patch actually doesn't occur for about 2 weeks versus 1 week, which was shifted for NA LCS and EU LCS, which is it's kind of jarring because competitive will always then be like one patch behind on terms of solo queue, but there's so many like AP item changes that have come out, and I think it brings back stuff like the Syndra. I think it brings potentially mid Vlad as more of a priority. I think Vladimir is actually going to be super strong in this coming patch. All the item changes greatly benefited him. The Gangplank and the nerfs that are also coming will change the top lane priorities a bit. Gangplank, however, is still busted on this patch, so that priority should still be in. And yep, first ban from Mad Team. You definitely want to take it away from Flash Wolves. Zoe ban on the right side from Flash Wolves. Gonna respect that Uniboy has been spamming it a lot in the competitive games. Even the ones that they lost against, I believe it was Team Afro last time they played, it was still a pick that Uniboy was playing extremely well. Vladimir, another pick that they want to take away from. There's actually a lot of bans targeted towards Hanabi coming from Mad Team, so it looks like Hanabi has been performing even better than I've been able to see. So that's great news from Flash Wolves, because one of the questions was like, well, who is Hanabi, and is he that much better of a replacement than MMD? And if he is, MMD wasn't that reliable to begin with. Not trying to trash talk him or anything, but that was just the way his performance seemed at Worlds for the past couple of years. Ezreal and Camille also banned from the side of Flash Wolves. With Ezreal down, the Kalista priority is still there, so they're going to lock that in for Breeze. Flash Wolves can probably answer. If they do not want to let them have the Ornn, they can go for the Braum pick so that they can secure for themselves or deny Mad Team from wanting to have it. Galio is still incredibly strong. Azir was banned, so you have basically Galio is the kind of the strongest mid laner here if you don't want to go for a late game DPS mage. Looking at the Gnar hover here, and they're actually just going to lock it in. So I think that's just probably Hanabi's most comfortable next blind pick champion. Mad Team can go for, they can go for the Ornn pick here, but it's kind of risky. If they go for Ornn, then they would have to lock in the Braum to make sure that Swordar cannot pick that up for himself and counter the Call of the Forge God with the Unbreakable Shield. And so instead, they're actually going to take away Mugen's favorite pick in Kha'Zix, give it to Kong Yu. Oh, my boy Kong Yu's back. Oh, baby. So Mad Team was running, I think, Benny in the jungle for a while, but I was super impressed with Kong Yu's early game pathing from his first couple of games. I didn't even see that at all, so now I'm even super excited because Kong Yu's awesome. He's a rookie, or he's got a lot of just kind of rookie mistakes that he didn't make, but his early game aggression and his risk-taking ability was so awesome to watch. They do pick up Corki for Uniboy, so he will have the scaling DPS advantage from the mid lane. It is a safe pick into the Galio. You can slightly you have the attack range to be able to harass him a little bit. You will be able to scale with the Trinity Force full crit build from Corki. And then they're just going to pick up Mugen J4. Just be able to have, that's kind of Mugen's next favorite pick if it has to be a tank or it has to be engaged. And also, with the J4, with the Galio already locked in for Flash Wolves, Cataclysm, Hero's Entrance combo is so potent, especially on a ADC like Kalista. She's not necessarily immobile, but she has no real guarantee ways of being able to get out of the Cataclysm wall without being able to flash over, or if they have Tahm Kench. And now as I say Tahm Kench, that would be really good if Flash Wolves either picked it up, because that would be a way for Mad Team to be able to save Kalista from a sticky situation like this, but it looks like they're actually just going to go for the Braum instead. Ornn is not even up on the table, but Braum has been a strong support overall. So they're just going to go ahead and pick it up for Sword Art. Tristan and Zaya were banned from the side of the Mad team. So in terms of ADC picks, that does leave Varus up for Betty, which I think he'll be more than comfortable with picking up here. So, and Ornn and Sion were banned on the side of Mad team. So in terms of top lane picks, I think that leaves Maokai if you want to still go for a jungler. If you want to go for like something crazy, you can go for Yasuo or Riven, but the Maokai is going to be that final lock-in for Liang in the top lane. Alistar was also locked in for K in the bot lane. So Kalista Alistar, very potent engage coming from the side of Mad Team. You also have Maokai for the flanks. Flash Rolls are hovering Kog'Maw, and that would be really interesting if they locked it in. Yeah, it's going to be the Varus. So, yeah, standard stuff for the most part on patch 8.3. I am excited to see Kongyu back, and I'm excited to see him try to see if he can step it up and pull out a win on the Kazakhs. But if you're just looking straight up at like team composition wise, I think Flash Wolves have the overall better composition in terms of team fighting and mid game, late game scaling. Varus will scale insanely well. He does have to be careful against the Kalista. Kalista and Alistar have a really have a high kill pressure early on, as Kalista lanes usually do, but without, other than the kind of the objective securing utility that Kalista brings with her Ren stacking and being able to execute, then it's really not gonna, her damage output is nowhere near as powerful as Varus's is once he gets that Guinsoo's Rage Blade completed, and the safety at which he can operate from. 600 range versus a 550 range from Kalista is greater. He also brings decent disengage and engage himself with the Chain of Corruption, so we'll have to see how Betty and Sword Art can navigate their way through this early game lane, and because if they can get out of this lane without a huge CS disadvantage or without dying or getting dived, and then I think Flash Rolls are going to be pretty much set. And the thing is that it's really hard for you to make any aggressive plays onto a team that has a Galio on their side of the field. Because Galio, as soon as with the wave clear that he has, allows him to basically just push out the wave with the Wars of Wind, probably one proc, and then plus his passive, and then he's just off the map. And then as soon as if you try to go for an invade or a dive, suddenly Hero's Entrance comes in, the damage reduction passive comes down, you get knocked up, you get AoE taunted, and then the whole play is just completely negated. And then especially if you burned important cooldowns trying to initiate the fight, then you're left with your pants down, and then it's just an awkward feeling. And of course, the way that Galio is being built nowadays, he can even do a lot of burst damage onto you as well. So, looks like we do have some technical difficulties getting into the game, or just kind of doing the good old panorama of all the players. Hopefully we can see, we can get into the game pretty shortly, because I'm super hyped, guys. I'm super hyped to get back. I just want to, all right, yes, yeah, let's go. Mad Team versus Flash Wolves. Game 1, Week 5, Day 3 of the LMS Spring 2018. Yeah. All right. Anyway, enough of my American Idol audition. Botched it. Oh, let's see here. So, Mugen's going to throw out the Demacian standard just to get a little bit of vision onto the top side of the map. Does see Kongyu, is going to wave his spear around. Kongyu will just dance around, acknowledging that Mugen can see him, but vision has now been dropped from Mugen's side. Won't look like that, but that vision radius He's not able to see Kongyu anymore, but he knows that he was on the top side of the map. We'll have to see if Kongyu actually decides to start blue buff. Most of the time, junglers do want to start on the bot side of the map to get the healthier, clear, and faster leash from their bot lane. But I can see some interesting paths and especially some stronger paths if you have a specific game plan for starting on the top side of the map. Looks like Mugen is actually going to start on his wolves. We'll have to see if he actually goes for the full level 2 clear on the wolves, or if he's going to do the level 4 kind of power clear, which I wouldn't really suggest on J4. No, it looks like he's just doing the full clear. So he just starts wolves, and we'll have to see what he does. It's curious that he actually does wolves and just goes into blue buff anyway. I wonder if it's just because he didn't want to take his bot lane bot lanes too much of their time from leashing, because the wolf leash start is a lot quicker than doing blue buff, and you can always smite blue buff to get the health back anyway, and so your sustain and early clear is not as damaging for the Jarvan. But this is the patch where Jarvan's armor was nerfed, so he does have a more difficult time of clearing the jungle early on. He still has potential gank paths. Actually, wow, he's just pathing towards the bot side of the map. He's about 400 health, but if Mad Team continues pushing here, they do have a chance. And now Swordar's going to jump in. Liz is going to look for that Winter's Bite, lands it onto K. Heal is burned from Breeze, and Flash comes out from K. He's going to use Headbutt onto Mugen to actually escape the path, and only exhaust is burned down from the Flash Wolf side. So, still a favorable trade for Flash Wolves, only burning 1 summoner spell for 2 on Mad Team. Kongyu just does see that Mugen went for the bot side gank with only blue buff, so knows that he can go ahead and steal red buff away from Mugen. And now he might even try to take some of these KFC baby chickens here. He will not have time to take the big raptor, as he did use smite. Mugen is going to come over. He does see that Kongyu... Actually, Kongyu is able to get the full Raptor camp clear and is now level 4. And he can fight Mugen. He does have red buff. He does have priority actually from Uniboy as he's pushing in Maple. But Uniboy doesn't have a lot of mana. But Maple is not able to respond. And there looks like Hanabi is not being called to support either. So... But Kongyu has basically been able to scout out Mugen and basically predict his path for the next 2.5 minutes into the game. They know that red buff and Raptor camps are cleared, so there's no real reason for Mugen to stay on the top side of the map after clearing the Krugs. He will be trying to go to his bot side of the map to clear his Wolf Camp and Gromp once they come back up. It should be in about 30-45 seconds. But this is great from Kongyu. Yeah, so you did burn the flash from K and the heal from Breeze, but they can now still operate safely in this lane because Kongyu was able to basically spot out and now also predict Mugen's kind of like where he wants to go for the next couple minutes into the game. It's just up to Breeze and K to play accordingly. Actually, we're going to get a pause. No! No! I think Mugen... looks like Mugen is calling for a pause. Or no. I'm sorry, that's... I believe that's Betty. So... I was just going to assume that Mugen called for a pause. Like, hey, ref, my red buff's gone. I think there's a bug. Because Kongyu had red buff, but he clearly only took his red buff, right? Oh, no. We're back. God bless. All right, so Maple did TP back to lane, was able to pick up a Dark Seal, give him that little extra bit of mana, and was able to place a ward onto Kongyu's Raptor camp, so they're going to be able to spot him out and see if Maple's just hiding in the bush here, is just obscured from vision. Maybe... I'm not sure if he was trying to make a play on the Kongyu or just be able to be in range to see if he scouts himself towards the river. I don't think they did see him there. Mugen is actually, and Kongyu knows that Mugen has to be on the bot side of the map. He knows that all the top camps are cleared. So, and this is how you play effectively, and I'm really liking what Kongyu's doing here. He calls up K to be the extra backup support just in case something happens. If Kongyu overextends, he does have the good old Moo Cow to be able to headbutt any threats away if he goes for the invade. But just as Kha'Zix, even if you can't kill someone, you spike harder and later with the lethality build, getting that warrior enchantment or into Dustblade and then maybe eventually Yumu's. You will outpace this Jarvan later on, but the best thing that you can do to prevent Jarvan from doing anything useful at his best, which is the early game, is prevent him from ganking. And to prevent him from ganking, you need to scout him out, you need to track where he is so that all your lanes can play accordingly and safely when they have to, and then still continue their lead without concern when they don't have to play back and safe. So, really good stuff from Kongyu. This is how you punish a jungler that goes for an early gank, and it's kind of why you see junglers don't go for early ganks or early plays early on in this meta anymore, because with the vision that you get from Tracker's Knife, and a lot of the free vision you get in your trinket, Blasco. Actually, hold the thought. Hanabi is actually getting killed here. Kongyu is going to pick up the first blood. Hanabi even burned Flash, but Kongyu followed up successfully well. Liang setting up that gank real nicely for Kongyu. So, unfortunate for Hanabi. It looks like he had actually just TP'd back to lane for that farm. And so, Liang was able to punish that, called for the gank. Kongyu was in the area, and that's going to be huge for Liang in this lane matchup, because they're going to crash that whole wave, and Hanabi's not going to be able to get that gold or XP. In fact, Mugen had to go top lane to soak up that wave. Liang will be able to crash one more wave in, and Hanabi will probably be able to pick up at least half of the wave by the time he does get there. But really nicely coordinated. Good stuff from that team. Good stuff for sure. And this is where having a co-caster really helps, so that you can fill in the blank spaces and have someone to bounce discussion points off of. Chairman, I miss you. If we can get a GoFundMe page started, I believe that with Chairman's new job, he will be investing it into a better computer setup. So that was hyphy. If anyone does remember, we did have a lot of streaming problems where the stream would crash running on his laptop, and so we ended up running it off of my desktop. Not as convenient or portable in situations where I'm not at home, but definitely does the job for now. Looks like Mugen is invading onto the bot side of the jungle, does not find any KFC chickens to steal for himself, but he goes and wards aggressively and is trying to look for a gank on the Uniboy, but he does have both Flash and Cleanse Up, so it's really difficult for him to make anything actually happen here. So he's just going to pop his face, allow Maple to get the push on, and now they're going to look towards the top side, but they do see Kongyu on the river taking out this Scuttle Crab. The vision is pretty sufficient so far on this top side of the jungle, and Hanabi, despite burning Flash and burning Teleport and being behind in XP, he's still keeping up in CS. He is down a level versus Liang's level 8 Maokai, but as soon as Hanabi can get his Black Cleaver, he still will be able to outperform Maokai in the split push war. You have to remember that Maokai is still great at team fighting, but he is no longer that super, like, and thank God for this. He's no longer the super tank that basically can not only be a huge team fight presence, but also with the Grassy Undying, Iceworn Gauntlet builds back in season 6. He could basically 1v1 split pushers, solo kill ADCs by himself, you know, all that good stuff that you want a tank to be able to do. A tank that can both be a tank, absorb a lot of damage, provide a lot of teamfight CC, and solo kill 1v1s. or be able to win 1v1 situations, right? So, but Maokai can no longer do that. That's why you see Ornn. He was kind of the next person that did that. But with the Ornn nerfs that are coming into patch 8.4, we will have to see how the priority on him fares. He will still have a lot of team fighting power, but a lot of his damage in the 1v1 situation has been toned down, and the cooldown on his main trading tool has also been increased. So there's less windows of opportunity for him to actually be able to use that. Uniboy pushing in Maple in the mid lane. He does have the package. He wants to be able to make a roam play, but you have to be conscious of the fact that it is hard to make a play with Galio on Flash Wolf's side. Even if you have package and you push in Galio, Galio just has to walk probably to the river bush, and he'll be able to hero's entrance onto his allies, save them from a sticky situations. But anytime you can get a push as mid lane, you want to be able to use it as an opportunity to scout and control vision in the river. It's definitely the first step of making a play towards the bot side of the map. Fortunately, in this meta, you have to take things slow. You can't just go for... You can't not go for calculated aggressive plays that quickly with all these tools that allow you to basically protect yourself, and which is why we don't really see aggressive plays as much anymore. Hopefully, as more patches come in, I don't think early aggressive plays will be completely eliminated or completely come back in 8.4. One of the things that we will have to see is Tracker's Knife being removed, so no more free vision from the jungle other than their Trinket Ward. And we'll see if there's a priority to keep Trinket Ward, or if you still have to go for the Sweeper to deny as much vision as you can. But enough of that. We'll see that in 2 weeks, right? So let's take a look here at top lane. So like we said before, actually, Maple is going to be able to catch out Uniboy, has to force him to cleanse and flash, but now Cataclysm goes on to Kongyu, forces him to leap away. He does have the Proto Belt to be able to keep and stick to him. Maple will not be able to land the knockout. Kongyu does flash away to safety. That is a nice kind of pick, and now Liang has kind of caught out here. He does have flash, so he will be able to twist advance onto Hanabi and flashes over the wall. Nicely done to prevent his own death, but that is a lot of summoners burned down on Mad Team's side, and for the cost of nothing from Flash Wolves. And now we have a bot lane skirmish as Kongyu has actually made his way down to the bot lane. Mad K is going for the pick on the Sword Art. He will go down. K will pick up the kill, but Hanabi has now teleported into the bot lane. Teleport canceled from Liang. It looks like they do not favor that trade. Sword Art went down too quickly for Hanabi to be able to do anything. His Mega Gnar also had just barely popped out as he teleported in. So, unfortunately for Flash Wolves, they are not able to get back anything for that play. On the bright side, the kill did go to K, so not a lot of combat power being invested into Breeze for that, just an assist. And it looks like Betty is actually just out farming Breeze at this point, and will be able to hit that Guinsu's Rage Blade on this back despite Sword Art's death. So Betty's now in a good spot. And, you know, this is something that we talked about earlier in the pregame, is if Breeze and K do not get a significant enough advantage in this lane, then the Kalista just starts falling off in terms of damage and safety compared to Betty. And with the team composition that you're facing from Flash Wolves, the only thing that can really save Breeze at this point is Flash. He needs Flash, and he just needs Maokai and Alistar to be able to prevent the diving threats of Jarvan and Galio and Gnar and even Braum. But if Kongyu is able to actually assassinate Betty in a team fight, there's actually a chance that Mad Team can actually win, because despite Galio having a lot of burst damage, in the end he is a tank, and he's an initiation, and he does have problems getting kited after the initial engagement. So if you're able to take out Betty, who's going to be the highest damage threat profile in in this team composition from Flash Wolves. You actually have a chance between Uniboy and Breeze to then kite out the rest of the diving tanks, as they will not have a lot of damage in the late game regardless. It will be really just Hanabi left, or Maple, to be able to get onto the back line using that Jarvan engage. So gold lead 22.9k on Flash Wolves side, down about 1.7k gold on Mad Team side. 2 early kills definitely have given them that lead, and Kongyu now going for the mobility boots, completed that Warrior's enchantment, and the serrated Dirk now has a lot of assassination power onto really anyone other than Muujin and probably Sword Art. It does have a lot of health. Actually, just looking at Muujin, I just realized that he went for the Warrior enchantment onto Jarvan, so he's not going for that Cinderhulk full tank build. So he's gonna have a lot of he's gonna have some potential burst damage with that Cataclysm or EQ Cataclysm combo for the initiation. So if you pair that with the Hero's Entrance, you might actually be able to just delete Breeze without even needing Betty or any of your other teammates to assist in potential dives. We need to see what Kongyu can do though, because now that he has the lead, he needs to be able to accelerate this. Actually, Kay's going to call it out, use the Unbreakable to get himself out of the sticky situation, but he's trying to buy time for Uniboy and Kongyu to collapse, but they call it off. They do get Alistar's ultimate, that is really important, but now Uniboy is trying to clear out a ward, and he needs to be careful because Kongyu has path towards the top side and Kay left, so there's going to be no Moo Cow to basically save you if you get into a sticky situation. His flash is not even up back yet. He does have the cleanse to be able to get out of Galio taunt, but that's pretty much it. So, but it does get away out. There's actually an opportunity for Flash Wolves to make a play onto the bot side of the map. Kongyu is on the top side getting Rift Herald, and you do have Arrow's entrance being able to initiate, but Muujin is just going to slide run on in. They're just going to pressure this turret, and if Breeze and Kay do not respect this, they have to, because Galio is missing. They do see him in the river, so you just have that Hero's Entrance threat. And so they're going to be able to get that first tower. That is a lot of gold. Look at that damage from Maple. Hextech, Protobelt, Haunting guys coming in strong. Not even Electrocute or Comet. He's running Aftershock just to give him the extra defensive stats. If one of the things that was a huge change to Aftershock was the increase from 20 base MR and armor was to basically let's see, whatchamacallit, it was like basically 50 armor and MR increase at level 1 base whenever you proc the Aftershock for the 0.25 seconds after CC, so it gives you a lot of trading power and potential. Let's see, is there a big lag coming on? Seems like everything is fine from my standpoint. I'm not sure if there is one. I don't see it on my end. I'll try to keep notice of it and try to make some changes here to see what I can do to make it less laggy. My apologies. Let's see. Anyway, looks like Kay will just get popped by the blast cone, and he and Muujin will go their separate ways. Gold lead is starting to stagnate a little bit on that team's side. With that first brick, they're able to bring it back closer to even. Gold lead is now only about 1,000, if not less, 800 gold off. And the time is running out for Kongyu to be able to accelerate the mid game right here, because this is his time. This is the time you need to start using your Maokai engage. You need to use your Callista, Fate's Call, plus Alistar engage onto a priority target into Betty. But, you know, like we talked about before, it's just hard when you have the threat of Hero's Entrance on from Maple's Galio being able to come in and just scuff any engage. So all you can really do is just wait to see. If anything, you have to make a play on the Maple, because there's no really defensive tools that Maple can rely to. If Mugen and the rest of Flash Wolves are pushing on another side of the map and Hanabi cannot teleport to Maple, then that is basically the only chance kind of aggressive play you can actually make. And the fact that Maple has built full damage so far, Protobelt Haunting Guys, and Sorcerer's Boots, he does not have any armor. And even with the damage reduction, he's still threatened by an all-in assassination from Kongyu. He does almost have the Dustblade fully completed, and he's actually looking for a pick onto Maple. He decides against it. He's just going to throw out the Void Spikes to slow him a bit. And one thing you definitely don't want to underestimate Galio's burst damage, especially if it is full damage Galio. He's squishy, but you're a bug, so you can get squashed. You definitely don't want to get squashed when you have this kind of lead. Alright, it looks like the lag situation has kind of been resolved. Just let me know if anything else happens or if audio. I'll try to do my best to fix that. But thank you so much for keeping me informed. Anyway, back to the game. Kongyu is going to be able to pop that Rift Herald, and they're going to try to go for the push, but this is not the best situation. It looks more like a desperation play. They're going to be able to push in that wave, but Mugen is here along with Maple to be able to prevent that push. The Rift Herald is going to be able to hit the tower once, chunk it to about 2/3 of health, and that'll be the end of Shelly or Herald. I'm not sure which name it is today. I didn't get to see the undersides to determine what it was, or JK. Damn, Sword Art just getting the brunt of that. Even K just throwing out the cowbell, trying to show Sword Art who's boss in the top side of the jungle. But Sword Art has a couple of friends. Their names are Jarvan and Galio, and now Breeze and K could be threatened on the dive here. They do not have Uniboy and Kongyu right away, so they did have the back off temporarily, but now Kongyu and Uniboy are now here on the top side of the map. They're trying to fight over this blue buff and hopefully give it over to Mugen and deny it from Uniboy or Kongyu, but Kongyu is going to be able to smite it away. Regardless, it is good to take it away from Uniboy. A lot of his wave clearing comes from spamming his rockets, and without the mana from blue buff, it's going to be a lot harder to do that, and Maple does have the blue buff on his side, so he's able to use his Winds of War to clear out mid lane constantly and be able to pressure side lanes. So Betty is actually getting a lot of damage onto turret, and Mad K misses the pulverized combo onto Betty, is only able to land it onto Sword Art, and without that engage, you only have Fate's Call at this point for a few more seconds, and it looks like with that, really nicely played stuff from Betty being able to dodge that initial engage from K. They're able to take the top tier 1 turret for Flash Wolves. So that's 2 turrets down versus 0 from Mad Team. And the gold lead has now slightly swung into Flash Wolves' favor despite being down 2 kills. So this is a great start for Flash Wolves to now start going into the later parts of the mid game and into the late game. This is where Betty will start to outshine Breeze severely on this forest. He has now actually completed the Wit's End in addition to the Guinsoo's Rage Blade several minutes ago. He's now actually working his way. He's picked himself up a Zeal. I'm assuming he should be picking up the Runon's Hurricane for team fighting and wave clearing potential, but I would not be surprised if he decided to go for Rapid Fire Cannon. Will help him in siege situations and poking. If you don't go for a lot of team fights, since Mad Team has seemed to opt out of team fights so far this game. Actually, Mad K goes for the flash pulverized onto Sword Art. Sword Art does have to flash away, but Maple is in the thick of the fight. K is trying to zone him off, but Maple is just able to solo Breeze out, and now without an ADC, you don't really have anything else other than Corky. Leong is in a bad spot. The tree has been chopped down. Betty picks himself a kill, and now 2 for 0 goes down for Flash Wolves, and now they're beginning most likely be able to pressure the Baron if they can sweep out all the vision here. Kongyu is now here. He can threaten a steal, but he has to approach the Baron pit safely. He cannot go in without having vision of the pit. He's looking, and he's on the blast cone. He might be able to get in, but Hanabi's going to try to do his best to zone away. He pops the blast cone, 2,000 health onto the Baron pit. Can Kongyu get it? Hanabi throws him in. Kongyu flashes in. Can he get the steal? No! They securely get the Baron after killing Kongyu first. No Baron attempt on Baron. Uniboy is super low. They're going to be able to chase him down. Hanabi will pick up that kill for himself. That is now a total of 4 kills to 2 on Flash Wolf's side. And now Baron is up. They're going to be able to use that to take this mid turret. Maybe more. Oh, and this is where I expect Chairman to come in, but he's not. So I got to carry on. So they're actually going to, they take tier 1 turret from mid, and they take the tier 2 turret from mid as well. Oh, man. Maple is actually doing a lot of work onto the bot side of the map. He's able to split against Liang to the bot side of the map as well. Look at that damage. Being able to build full health does increase his max health damage ratio on his Winds of War, so he's actually able to do a lot of damage onto Maple. And wow, Maple's going to be engaged upon by Breeze, but Breeze is actually not doing not enough damage to Maple, and they're able to take out Liang and a tier 2 turret as well. Flash Wolves are, with this Baron buff and Baron play, they are just taking so much from Mad Team. And just looking back at this replay, Hanabi's very intelligently goes over the wall, is doing his best to make sure he zones, finds Kongyu, flashes, nars him to get him away, and even though Kongyu was able to get away from Hanabi and flash over the Baron pit, Flash Wolves greatly communicated, told him stop killing the Baron, focus Kongyu. They killed him, and then they secured the Baron. And that's what you got to do in those situations. And it looks like the communication, even despite Mujin being Korean and probably having initial communication issues with Flash Wolves despite their mechanical prowess, looks like the communication has now been spiked up, because that is one thing that is always difficult in those high pressure situations. But it's good to see that Mujin is fitting more and more onto this Flash Wolves team. I'm really glad, and it's nice to see Mujin's progress. And it's not like they were doing bad at the beginning. They were always doing great. But even when teams are doing great, there's always flaws that you can see. And it's just sometimes they're not big enough for enemy teams to punish. But it's nice to see development. Because if they want to be a top-tier team like they were in seasons past, especially at Worlds, they need to fix those small issues, because small issues like that will not be always punished by your domestic league teams, but international teams, top-tier, world-class teams, will be able to exploit even the smallest of weaknesses and punish you super hard and make it look like the biggest weakness in the world. I'm just getting ready for that siege situation. They still have Baron for about 22 seconds. I don't think it's enough time for them to be able to take any inhibitor turrets. Hanabi is doing a lot of work on the bot side of the map. He now has the Frozen Mount and Black Cleaver completed for him. So despite that early kind of kill play by Kongyu, he's able to get the items that he needs to split against this Maokai effectively. And he's pressuring the bot turret. Actually, he might be able to take the bot turret just with the end of that. Baron does get the bot inhibitor turret. And with Maple on his side as well to assist, they're able to secure that. And now we've breached the gates, people. Flash Wolves have now access to an inhibitor when they are ready to make another play. They did get a 7,707 gold lead off of that Baron play. The momentum has just completely swung into Flash Wolves' side, and it's just incredible off of how one play can completely decide. It's incredible. Incredible how far a really strong team can balloon a lead once something drastic like this happens. And it's the perfect time for it to happen too. They waited, they played it safe for the most part. They tried to make sure that Betty and Sword Art were protected, and they had Maple being able to match any potential roams that Unibody Kongyu would try to make. And with the threat of Hero's Entrance being able to protect the bot lane, The only thing that Mad Team were able to get was just Hanabi's teleport into minions and being able to punish him for like a wave of XP. But at this point, it doesn't matter. Betty is now 4 items on this Varus. Blade of the Ruin King being the most recent item stacked up. He still has stopwatch, guys. So if there's any assassination attempt that Kong Yu actually just goes for, there's a potential it just gets completely scuffed if they forget that he does have stopwatch, or he just pops in and it's just... at this point, I just don't see how Mad Team can win. If Flash Wolves just keep playing this smart and accordingly, they use the waves, they use the side lane pressure from both Hanabi and Maple to push in the top and the bot side of the map, they'll eventually be able to breach the inhibitor on the bot side. They can go for the inhibitor turn on the top side or the mid lane. I mean, Flash Wolves just have to take this slow. They don't have to rush anything. They don't have to make any aggressive plays. Just kind of unfortunate because it's always nice to see some action, but that's the way the meta is, and when you're a top tier team, you have to play to the meta. Amujin is a little caught here. I just realized Mujin's build, actually Maple aggressing onto the top side of the map onto Uniboy in the picture-in-picture camera that we have so nicely done there. Top inhibitor turret has been taken. Chain of Corruptions has gone down into Leon. Mujin will go for the knock-up onto Leon. Cataclysm lands onto 2. Leon flashes away, but it's not enough. K will be saved temporarily as the Fates call. He goes back in, tries to buy as much time as possible, but here comes Maple on the hero's entrance, and now he's here. Uniboy packages away. K has been served on a platter. Hamburgers are on for tonight as Flash Wars are going to be looking to try and close out this game. Maple flashes in for the taunt, gets the AoE taunt, and solos completely Kong Yu. Where did the bug even go? Hanabi flash Nars into Flash Wolves, and that will be all they wrote. Uniboy will try to do his best to throw out rackets, but it will not be enough. We do get the stopwatch from Betty. Nice done, but Betty still with the perfect KDA. And Flash Wolves take game 1. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That was just textbook. Textbook gameplay, as they say. Cheerio. I don't know. Yeah, Mad Team are just looking at that game and they're like, man, that Kozak ain't doing shiz. And you just... That composition could have definitely gone a lot better for Mad Team if Galio just did not exist in that game. If Maple did not have Galio, if he actually was put on the Azir can't roam as much. He would have been more dominant against Uniboy in the lane matchup, but it's not like Azir's going to take teleport. It's not like Azir is going to take celerity and wind walking or water walking to get the bot lane faster. He's not going to take Ghost to run down bot lane. He's going to continuously try to poke out Uniboy with the area or the comment, and he's just going to try to scale and get to the late game portion of the game. And he's a lot more easier to assassinate than a Galio is. So, if Mad Team want to go for a similar composition, if they do want to empower Kong Yu on this Kha'Zix, then they need to get rid of those defensive tools. Unfortunately, it's just there's so many defensive tools that you can get rid of, right? You take away the Galio and you're trying to play for the bot lane. Maple can still pick up something like a Talia or a Rise, and we'll have that either Realm Warp or the Weaver's Wall to be able to join the bot lane side of the map, be able to basically counter gank any potential dives or threats onto Betty and Sword Art. Stopwatch still exists, so if you don't make plays super early on, then it just doesn't even matter, because by 6 minutes, stopwatch comes into play. Turret dives are easier to do, or I'm sorry, not turret dives. Turret dives can be harder to do, or plays can be harder, as if you use the stopwatch to stall for time for a counter gank to come in. So, but if they do, you gotta ban Galio. You gotta ban Galio. You got to make sure that Mugen is on a less effective early game jungler or a pure tank jungler, and you're just able to have a strong mid lane matchup. And unless Matt team are on red side, I think that's going to be difficult to do. So we'll have to see how what happens in the next pick and ban phase. It's hard. I mean, Matt team, you know, have been playing admirably for their first split as a team, but I mean, Flash Wolves are no joke, guys. Flash Wolves are no joke. Maple, world-class mid laner. Of course, didn't have the most dominant Worlds performance this past championship in Season 7, but he's coming back into full form. Betty and Swordart are still strong as ever. Mugen has proved to be a really valuable jungler replacement in the absence of Karsa. And Hanabi has stepped up a lot and actually looks like a better fit for Flash Wolves than MMD. So rip MMD's starting role. This is where I would also love to have Chairman, because he speaks fluent Mandarin Chinese. I know it's not necessarily the same dialect here in Taiwan, but he's still able to understand it, and we'll be able to get some insight. However, all I can do is just turn up the volume.
刷野套路，就是他刷了下面
And I'm just
然后
like,
想要给对方下路
nope.
直接就是来一波进
I need
看得
subtitles.
出来他们想要就是把这个下路一开始就要把
But if
下
you
路攻
guys do
让
speak Chinese,
法
I'll
洛斯跟布朗
keep
姆
this
在下
on
路有一个优势的情况下，他们加文
so
跟
you
加里欧的
can
康
kind of
就
get
会在
insight for
中间的
yourself.
时候很容易发生，但很可惜的是前面的那一个击杀没有发生，然后反而自己的加文其实是在上半
掉了2趟，
掉了红又掉了6鸟的情况下，所以其实导致闪电他们一开始拿到一个前中期很强的阵容，却不能发挥。
对，其实这边的话也不得不称赞，就是 Matin 其实在防守上面来说，这一场比赛的游戏前期的防守是非常好的哦，室友老师。
就他们其实唯一的失误只有1波而已，但那一波已经细腻到一般人是不太容易注意到，
nice
他们只是一个可以跑去做眼，然后眼睛丢光了回补的那个 timing， 就直接被闪亮抓到一波双线挤进去，然后靠下把下塔拿掉。那一波是他们唯一一个回补失误，然后也只因为那个失误，他们下塔就掉了，所以整个节奏其实就掉失蛮多。我觉得这个闪亮的掌握度还是很高的。
对，我觉得 Matin 这边真的蛮可惜，因为前面 K 的表现其实都算是非常的好，
真的玩得很好。
那我觉得风向比较大的一个改变，应该是在中期差不多24分钟左右中路的一个团战了。我们也现在看一下这个团战，肉老师，你可以帮我们讲解一下这波团战。
Oh yeah, this is where it all
对，因为其实在这个位置打起来是
into favor
看得
for
出来
Flash
是 AD
Wolves.
这边亮了 TP 之后，然后牛就是跟
Just look at this damage output. Chain of Corruptions, wow, actually weaved in really nicely from Betty 2 to help Maple secure that kill. But god, that's so much freaking damage from Maple's Galio.
打好这个团战，他已经冲进去，所以这边其实也间接性被卖掉。那随后的就是直接掉一条巴龙。
对，是哦，老师，这个团战看起来应该是 Matin 主动发起的、哦，你觉得他们是不是忽略掉了一些原因啊？因为这波团看起来是，我觉得离团战获胜那个落差是有点大的。
我觉得就像你提到的，我觉得想多了，真的差太远了。你猫凯踢那个位置，你觉得
I would imagine what they're probably saying is that was the one time where the safety of Callista with Alistar supposedly being able to peel for her was exploited because K was actually used for initiation, not as for peel, and Leon teleported in late and did not start the engage, and therefore Breeze was basically left out open, and Maple just was in the right place at the right time and exposed her.
随后说闪亮也是拿到巴龙，而且拿到了，如果我没记错，应该是本季最高的这个7700块的巴龙 Power Play。我们来看一下最后结算的一些数据表现。我们可以看到，在这个击杀数上面来说的话，闪亮拿下了9颗头，经济上面其实这个获胜是非常多的。
Galio man, out damages Corky.
都是由闪亮
God bless.
这里画面听基本上是。
Oh yeah, and then, yeah,
就是地图物件基本上是完全没有拿到的。那伤害输出我们可以看到，库奇打了 Matin 全队最高的是3.9K。另外一边的话，加里欧这支角色在这一场比赛里面最后打出的是15.5K 的一个成绩，其实有点算是平常蛮少见的吧。我觉得以一个加里欧来说的话，其实这个算是这个伤害数据不会这么常出现。那另外在经济曲线上面，我们可以看到是在 也是差不多24分钟左右的时候，闪电还正式拉回了整体的经济领先。那其实我这边想讨论的是。肉的，你觉得这一场比赛其实 Matty 前面已经守得非常的好，那你觉得他们欠缺的是什么样的原因，让他们没有办法在后面能够赢下这场比赛？
我觉得还是他们个人队伍体系的问题。因为如果这一场像是前面卡利斯已经帮上路拿了一颗人头嘛，如果这一场小亮跟平常以往一样拿的是一只斗士，他可能就是 BD 到底。
I'm not sure if this is what exactly they're saying, but I think a good discussion point is also this gold lead right here. So, I mean, Mad Team did have a gold lead. They punished the reckless teleport from Hanabi. Picked up the kill for Kongyu. Was able to get the Warrior Enchantment. It's rated Dirk and Moby's boot early on. And the fact that Mujin went Warrior Enchantment meant that in a 1v1, Kongyu had an opportunity to kill Mujin. But it's that Galio. The Galio on the field just makes any aggressive play less successful and therefore less enticing to actually do. Because if you commit trying to extend your gold lead and then you get Hero's Entrance upon, knocked up and taunted, oh, it just feels so bad.
不然其实没有任何的道理是闪亮的下路应该拿到塔。就虽然他们掉闪，但后面也转回来，根本就没有什么差。那打野也是优势的，反而是回补的时间点错误，导致他们下塔被推掉。我觉得这才是最严重的。
所以看起来的话，是在一些细节上，如果做好调整的话，其实 Matty 是非常有机会在第2场比赛扳回一城的嘛。那这场比赛我们也来看一下 Keeper 最后扳到是哪一位选手手中。 就是交到美国黄一堂选手
I agree.
363 CS 使用的英雄是加里欧，刚也看到他打了。
Even though there wasn't that much action until that one misplay from from Breeze being caught out, Maple was really the deciding factor in this whole game. Because just despite the gold lead and the tempo advantage that Mad Team potentially had, that Kongyu built up from the early game of being able to scout out Mujin and basically prevent ganks from happening from on any of his lanes and being able to try to figure out maybe we can make a play on the bot side when Mujin is top. Just Maple being there prevents anything from happening, right? So for example, right here, this was an opportunity to like make something happen, and they got a kill on the Sword Art, but they just weren't able to push any further. Uniboy was had Maple onto the mid side of the map as well, so that was potentially an opportunity for them to get more, but it could not find enough plays like that, so just unlucky for Mad Team. So, but I think if they want to win a game in that manner, or they have Kongyu on this aggressive jungler, then they basically just need to get rid of Galio. If he picks Talia, you know, at least he doesn't bring damage reduction, right? So, or Talia doesn't bring damage reduction, so at least you can try to assassinate a target before Talia gets there. Oh. What is this? Oh, is this Rift Rivals? Oh no, this is the All-Star event. Oh, it looks like a Fofo highlight. That's cool. I don't think we've seen this before. Oh, Fofo and Zoe. Hello, my name is first name Fofo, last name, and my pocket pick is Zoe. Alright. Well, so until we get into game 2, I'm just gonna go ahead and take a vocal break. And I'll go ahead and turn this up for you guys, and we'll be back in just a bit. See you guys soon. Thank you so much for everyone that has come back to tune into this stream specifically. I know there's another stream that does broadcast the LMS English I'm thankful that there is that, but I'm grateful that you guys chose to stream over that one. And I'll try to do my best to continue earning your viewership, everyone. We're happy to come back.
会战就是永远能生存到最后，然后利用自己的优势打出最大的输出。我觉得柔一在线上应该是先利用他的 Q 的距离去洗兵，然后再来的话就是靠墙边用 E 技能给对方造成线上的压力，这样会比较容易赢线。
很难看到，如果你没有视野的话，你就会无缘无故中，然后就死掉了。
对，所以这角色其实有无限的可能性。我们先看上路 Ford， 一上线没血量了，血量呢？
我觉得在团战初期就是先隐藏自己，然后给对方的 carry 造成压力，然后在团战后期的话，就是用掉落的技能碎片来追击对手。
火箭抓取出手，然后塞翔直接变成上方的豪运姐开大绝弹幕灯下面进场的刺客 ，Fovo 玩的跟刺客一样，把对方的血量压得非常惨。看豪运姐血量是近乎归零，而上方的 BB 开启华丽心目188射在队友身上之后呢，李行再度 Q2 进场收下9桶的人头。
这波真的哇 ，Fovo 好猛啊！
这边我要先来讲柔一的节制，那有2种，一种是 QRQ， 一种是 QQR。那 QRQ 的好处就是，在你R出去的时候，你可以去判断你对方的位置，然后再出 Q。那坏处的话就是，那个 Q 的速度比较慢，比较容易被躲掉。那我这边就来示范一次，R出去 Q。 差不多就是这样。那 QQR 的话，好处就是比较快，然后可是 QQR 有一个比较最重要的一点就是，如果你 Q 跟 R 没有配合到的话，你的 QQR 会 fail。那我先用一个成功的。这个是成功的，然后再来是 fail 的。那要成功的话，最重要的点就是你的 Q 不可以超过你的身体。看那个 Q 哦。 不能超过自己的身体，这样就一定会成功。所以在你拉 Q 的时候，你往前走，就要注意自己的身体跟那个球，这样的话就一定会成功。所以这角色的重点就是你拉 Q， 确认对方的走位，然后 Q 不要超过自己的身体，你的接机就很容易成功，就很容易杀到人。 那我这边要来讲，就是当柔一可以跑线的时候，它的跑线的作用。那它一开始就是假如说去下路 gank 的话，就是往这边走。然后因为通常下路会在这边对线，那如果你靠着这个墙，这个E就可以直接丢到下路你想要丢的任何地方，你只要确定对方位置就可以直接丢了。那上路的道理也是一样的，不管是就是基本上柔一只要靠着墙边的话，就很容易给对方造成 很大的压力，在中路的话也是，这边可以支援打野，你只要调好位置就可以丢得很远。还有就是，你如果在中路对线你不确定对方打野位置的时候，你也可以用 R 去看一下敌方有没有蹲在草里面，就是非常简单的一些技巧。
开始了，希望可以 得到6分钟，
可以。洗兵。
所以它是可以到侧边的哦。
对啊，什么角度都可以。
怎么有一种不太妙的感觉？好啊，快死了啊！
好像不太妙哦。
不行了，我要活下去，我要 recall 了，再见。来继续。究竟我会不会在6等前回2次家呢？喵！救命啊！
还行，没有什么。
不行了，我要 recall 了。好啊，我4分钟已经回家2次了啊。我活到6等了，我都快死了。
你6了，6等就不一样了。传送！我捡不到。
谢谢。
现在的话，我柔一都会带起风法术，原因是因为骑士给的 AP 比较高，然后再来就是带钟表，保证2打2、3打3有一定的优势。然后如果我打仙术的话，我也可以换 TB 回来，算是一个现在非常好用的一个符文。大家好，我是 JT Fofo， 这支柔一我会玩。
Long ago, a young empress received 2 loyal guardians who would stand beside her in the battles to come. As time passed, the 3 gradually grew apart, leaving the kingdom vulnerable to an ancient darkness. But this invasion only reunited the guardians. The 3 demigods fought bravely to banish the darkness and bring forth a new age. An age of light. This year, we honor these great defenders.
.欢迎在现场还有线上专师回来我们今天的 LMS 春季联赛哦。那经过刚刚第1场比赛之后，来到了第2场，也有可能是闪亮这个赛末点。
对，我觉得 MAD 目前压力应该是很大，因为毕竟他们在上一场是有优势的，然后被一波翻盘掉。我觉得这种是最可怕，就是你觉得。
All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and turn this down. So, for those just joining in, we are into Game 2 of Mad Team versus Flash Wolves. This is Week 5, Day 3 of the LMS Spring 2018 split. I was about to say, about to double say that. We should be getting into picks and bans in just a few moments. Looks like Hanabi has been swapped out to MMD again, as this has been a recurring pattern for Flash Wolves. Try to get MMD some play time, see what he can offer to the team, if he can make his mark, and try to do as much and give him a chance to earn his spot or earn his starting role spot on the team. I mean, there's no other subs that have been used for Flash Wolves so far. This split, as far as I know. So, I mean, if it comes to World situation or MSI, I mean, MMD will be coming with Flash Wolves to international events. But Flash Wolves, I mean, having MMD and Hanabi competing for the starting role spot does drive up competition and allow Hanabi and MMD to basically have a chance to practice different pools of top laners or just special kind of counter picks or niche picks. It's always nice to have just kind of like a partner to be able to bounce ideas off of. Might not be the most exciting thing to share a starting spot with someone, but for a team environment, it does help a lot. Having that flexibility and having the opportunity to just have options, correct, right? Because in the case that Hanabi does ever get sick, you know, God forbid, I just want to make sure that MMD is in just as a peak form as Hanabi is as well. So we'll look here, the top lane matchup now, MMD versus Liang. Mad Team are on red side now, so we'll have to see what Flash Wolves look to first ban away from Mad Team. They can go for the Zoe ban again one more time, unless they want to first pick it for Maple. They're actually just going to go ahead and ban the Camille. So what this says to me that they do not want to opt in for a Camille first pick. Camille first pick is pretty strong for the flex opportunity. We've seen now Muujin being able to play that in the jungle as well as top lane both for Hanabi. I don't think MMD has played it. I didn't get a chance to see who's played it specifically. Zoe has now been banned on Mad Team side. So, I mean, yeah, Zoe is still just completely oppressive on 8.3. This is not the huge nerf from 8.4. This is the 0.25 seconds nerf off of her 5th rank in Q. So, 5th rank in Battlestar. So, you know, big nerf there. Flash Wolves are actually just going to go ahead and straight up ban Rakan, denying Mad Team the opportunity to pick a strong bot lane in Zion Rakan onto their first rotation of picks. So nice. I think that's a really smart ban because I mean, with red side having that first 2 picks, you can go for that, and that used to be a common strategy of having the blue team go for a strong first pick, and then you just pick up Zion Rakan on the backside. And they're actually banning Kalista, so this forces Mad Team to question if they want to ban the Ezreal or if they want to ban the Gangplank, and they're actually just banning the Galio, and you know that's also honestly a really good ban as well. So you have a lot of power picks. You have the Ezreal, you have the Gangplank, and they're just going to pick up Ezreal for Betty. So that's going to be a strong pick for him. And look, he's so happy to have that. He's like, all right, I'm about to... time for a true display of skill, as they say. But Gangplank is now open, and Mad Team have picked actually Kha'Zix first, so they want to kind of run back to that strategy of having Kongyu have that early aggressive power pick in the Kha'Zix, being able to 1v1 and dual Muujin. Galio's no longer there, and we did talk about if they wanted to return to that strategy. Liang just needed to, or Mad Team had to get rid of Galio, because with Galio on the table, damage reduction buff can just come out anywhere, and so that's gone. So now kind of the next pick for Flash Wolves most likely will be the Rise. Zoe, there's basically 3 mid lane bans. Rise is the next on the tier list. If he didn't go for Rise, he probably would go for Talia or Corki, but Rise is the lock here for Maple. And now they do have an option of, if they are afraid of Muujin getting pinched in the jungle role, they can just grab him the Jarvan again. They can get potentially the Gangplank. Actually, yeah, the Gangplank is the better option here. Giving that to MMD, he will have that scaling threat in the top lane. So now you have 2 Trinity Force. Well, not 2... unless Betty does go Trinity Force on Ezreal, most likely he will go that Iceborne Gauntlet route. But you do have MMD on the Gangplank, but that does open the opportunity for a Riven counter pick if they want to pick it that early on, but they're just going to go for the Gnar. It's the safer pick. You don't necessarily exploit or give yourself that opportunity of weakness where if you don't snowball insanely well on the Riven, then you just fall off and Gangplank can actually 1v1 you later on. So Gnar is definitely more safe, is the safer pick here. Still has the range advantage to be able to harass and proc Gangplank's barrels somewhat, but Gangplank is just so incredibly strong on this patch. It's just able to harass all types of laners anyway with the parlay spam. Just have to see. So now Muujin's jungle looks like it is getting pinched. On the flip side, Flash Wolves are pinching the mid lane role. They take out the Malzahar. Is a very useful pick for any team that could pick it. The Malzahar Kha'Zix combo has I think we saw Team Afro use this combo against Mad Team, or it was AHQ that used this. I'm trying to think of what team that did this. They're not picking Riven. Stop it. Get some help. They're just hovering it. They want to be like, oh, we could pick Riven. We'll flex it top lane. We'll send Gnar as ADC or support or mid lane Gnar. But with Cassia and Malzahar banned, that leaves basically Corki or Talia up, and Uniboy wants to now have the roaming opportunities himself. So he's going to pick up the Talia. Now you just have support kind of left up. And now Betty is going to do his own kind of flex Riven hover for Mad Team, knowing that they cannot pick it since they already picked the Gnar. With Jarvan and Rengar banned, Muujin's preferred aggressive junglers to match Kongyu's aggression. He does have to basically go to the Sejuani. And it's so funny to see Sejuani kind of flex this far down. She did receive mobility nerfs, but tank junglers like Sejuani and Zac and Skarner are insanely strong, and more often than not, they're much more effective than picks like Kha'Zix or Rengar. But in terms of Flash Wolf style, I mean, their team is so mechanically well ahead, and you see this in Korean comps too, where if the laners are strong enough, you can run Kha'Zix, and really strong teams can execute an aggressive jungler without having to rely on just scaling mid-game teamfight engage. And you can see where the priority is. Muujin doesn't want to be on some tank jungler, some servant for his lanes. He wants to be the carry himself. He wants to be the one that has power in his own hands. He wants to take charge. But Sejuani is kind of the best pick here when you're down all of your favorite aggressive junglers. If anyone asks about Camille was the first ban for Flash Wolves as well. So, and Mad Team finished their composition with the Tahm Kench. So, that being said, looking at I'm just trying to get a feel for both of these compositions. So, you do have two tanks on Flash Wolf's side. You have Sejuani and Braum. You have great engage. Sejuani Braum is actually just a disgusting combo, especially level 1. Level 1 invades are very potent. You can lead with Winter's Bite, and as soon as you start racking up the concussion, concussive blows on Braum's passive for the stun, it leads easily into Sejuani's own passive for the permafrost stun. So, and not just level 1, and just very practically early on. So early on, Muujin has an opportunity to threaten this bot lane a lot, which is why they ultimately flex to Tahm Kench. If they go for the Tristana, Tahm Kench can always devour her, and with the rocket jump, she is a pretty safe laner, can push out the wave particularly well with the explosive charge passive. The win condition overall just for Mad Team is they're basically going to try what they did in Game 1, right? They're going to try to get Kongyu ahead. They want Kongyu is going to try to track Muujin as best as he can. You do have the push advantage as Taliyah versus Ryze for the early levels until Ryze gets a few more points into his overload and some AP items. Taliyah definitely has the early push advantage though. Unraveled Earth Seismic Shove combo level 3 can practically almost one-shot the back wave early on. Probably one of the few mages that can do that early. And then I'm just trying to remember her Q name. I always forget it. It's like Threaded Volley. Threaded Volley. Okay. Threaded Volley also just has a lot of power in itself as well, being able to push in the melee wave, and then with Seismic Shove, Unraveled Earth combo, you can kill the melee wave and you can kill the caster wave, and just look for roams using the rock surfing passive. A lot of Taliyahs also tend to take the celerity rune, as well as sometimes the water walking if they want to have that extra roaming power, as most of the time as Taliyah you're rock surfing near the walls in the river, so combine that with the celerity and the river bonus movement speed you get from all three. Sometimes you don't even need Weaver's Wall at level 6 to unlock your roaming potential. You can roam as early on as level 3, level 2 even in some cases. Honestly, you see a lot of Taliyahs push the wave super early, level 1, and go and try to ward the enemy jungler's Raptor camp, and just try to get a start and vision ahead of seeing like where the enemy jungler is. If you see that they took the Raptor camp, you can kind of predict that they're going to the top side of the map, as most junglers do not go for a red buff Raptor Krug start unless it really does favor them for some attack speed junglers and they want to play to the bot side of the map, at which point it exposes the whole top side of their jungle to be taken. So, but looks like we're having some technical difficulties upon startup once again. Unlucky. You can see Breeze just in pensive thought, trying to stay focused in this game, and honestly, Breeze, I wouldn't understand if Breeze was a little, I mean, if he's not maintaining his mentality after being caught out in what was the momentum swinging, huge Baron costing misplay from his positioning in the first game. Sometimes it can bring the best players down. It's like everyone, Sword Art and Betty are getting a chance to check their mouses and just making sure that all the frames and I assume all the technical issues are. Yeah, we're in the game. Game 2. Let's go. Flash Wolves versus Mad Team Game 2. Week 5, Day 3. Yeah. Spring 2018. Muujin has opted into the Aftershock. We've, from what I've seen, I don't think I've seen any Sejuanis run Fleet of Footwork after patch 8.3. And I was actually surprised to see Sejuanis continue using Fleet of Footwork after the Aftershock kind of change. There was less of bonus. There was less of an increase in how much damage you did with the health and how much bonus percent MR and armor you get based on your current armor and MR, but you got a huge boost in armor and MR from 20 to 50, and I think it made just early playmaking potential a lot easier. And trades, if you ever get engaged upon by an aggressive jungler such as the Kazakhs, you just hit them with the good old Q and then just kite your way with autos and W, and then if they get too close you can permafrost and stun them and then just walk away with the trade, and then you don't take as much damage from the engagement. Both junglers did start bot side. Kongyu with that blue buff first, now heading on to Gromp or completed Grump, and now going for Wolves, so going for a full side clear on his bot side, and then we'll path towards the top side of the map. Mugen, doing something similar, went for red buff, then Raptors to be able to maintain the Raptor camp. Uniboy is actually going to be able to scout out and places a ward onto blue buff. He does see that Mugen has reached level 3 with only red buff, so they can only assume that he did Raptors and Wolves, or Wolves and Gromp. And now Kongyu, now that he is level 3 as well, he's going to try to invade and try and force Mugen off blue camp. Will be released back, but Mugen is now in a bad spot. He has, but actually, nope. This is the power of Aftershock. Can he smite it away? No! Well, Uniboy comes in and he flashes in, but now if Maple can try to cut this around, he just needs to stand in front, and they're able to get it. First blood does go for Maple. Unfortunately, Mugen also dies in the exchange, but just honestly, that was as well played as Mugen could have played it. He was greedy trying to take the blue buff still, and took a lot of damage from leashing it even that far out, but Maple with the assist, and that's the power of the Aftershock right there. You know, that's not fleet of footwork. It's, for me personally, it's not a lot of healing and a lot of attack speed necessary over Aftershock, but the extra health that it gave, and just watch this exchange. So Mugen had already smited it before, but brings Kongyu to almost like to death. He had lethal on Kongyu and forced Kongyu to not only smite the camp for the extra health, but to have the flash away as well. And because Uniboy had already committed with flash, he's like, well, I need to get this kill, or, you know, and then we're really behind. And so he does get the kill on Mugen, but unfortunately for Mad Team, it wasn't first blood. That was for Maple. He gets the tier on the first back. And now Maple's in a really good spot to get a lead in this lane. Despite Uniboy having the early push, Uniboy is going to look to get a ward on the Raptor camp, sees that it's still cleared out, so they can safely assume that. And now they... Oh, Uniboy is actually looking for a roam. Betty and Sword Art are a little overextended here. If she can get the Seismic Earth on Ravel Earth here, just throws out on Ravel Earth, does not get the Seismic Shove onto either, but chokes out Betty for quite a bit, and so this looks like a time they will have to back and allow Betty to get the tier item, which is what he will want regardless, but not the strongest back. Sometimes Ezreals do want to be able to try and prolong the laning phase with the first back as long as they can. Hopefully they can get a tier and a Sheen. That's the dream. Or sometimes, I don't think you do it in the Tristana matchup, but against Kalista, I have seen players like Stitch just completely rush a Iceborne Gauntlet straight up. Helps with the kiting, helps with the wave clear, pressures Kalista under turret, and prevents her from being able to kite and escape as easily. And with this tier purchase from Maple, he's now has a lot more mana to spam, being able to push back against Uniboy. Uniboy still has slightly better wave clear. The Threaded Volley, Unraveled Earth will be able to clear out the waves faster than Maple's Spell Flux and Overload combo at the moment, but later on Maple will be able to match that and in fact annihilate waves. As we've seen Rise, once he has a couple items under his belt and points into Overload and Spell Flux, waves just disappear. Uniboy is just able to clear the wave right on spawn. And so now that full wave has crashed into the turret, Maple's going to lose some of those minions, and allows Uniboy to get some vision onto the bot side of the map and threatens the roam, so it makes Betty and Sword Art have to play back and push under this turret. This is interesting. Breeze actually went for Berserker's Greaves, and Betty has also opted into Sheen. He actually did not get the tier first item, so I wonder if this is actually an Iceborne Gauntlet from Betty. And I'm trying to understand that by delaying your tier this long, I mean, I know I've seen it in the Kalista matchups, and they made it work because they were able to snowball so much. But it's not like Betty is severely winning this lane. They do have the push advantage because Ezreal is Ezreal, but actually Maple and Muujin have stolen away the blue buff, and they're going to use the Realm Warp to get over. It's a 4-man turret dive. Gangplank make it a pseudo 5-man turret dive. Tom Kench with a Devourer, actually in stopwatch. He still dies? Oh, man. The Ignite was down from Sword Art, and now Maple has a chance to go into Breeze, but Rocket Jump will force him to back away from the turret temporarily. Muujin and Maple now have a chance to... They're actually not going to do the Dragon quite yet. Muujin wants to get his red buff off the table, but just nicely coordinated stuff. And this is... Oh, actually, Uniboy's going to answer with the counter roam. Weaver's all come in, forcing Sword Art to flash. Betty still has heal and flash. Actually, he burns both, and the stopwatch is not going to be able to save him. He will go down to Breeze. They're going to gift him that kill. Uniboy, being a super nice guy, not taking that kill, wants to make sure that his ADC can get ahead as well. And now Sword Art, without any sums or mana, it's going to be difficult for him to defend this turret push. He does have Muujin on the river, but is Muujin going to make his way down? I don't think you can. Even with red buff and Glacial Prison, we're just going to call Muujin over to absorb the wave. Sword Art does have 3 stacks from his Targon's Brace. Going to gift them over to Muujin and get himself some gold as well. And will allow Sword Art to back. Betty does come back now with the tier. Cannot go for that Iceborne Gauntlet Rush now that the gold momentum has swung into Breeze's favor. Does get that BF sword, and so he's going to definitely need the mana to wave clear out against Breeze. He cannot just brute force his way through the combat power that Sheen versus Berserker Greaves initially gave Betty. So Uniboy is looking for a roam onto the top side of the map, and therefore MMD has to back off. Maple was in the vicinity, but Weaver's Wall can definitely, even though it's not up, Uniboy's roaming potential is strong enough without the assistance of that ultimate there. But because Maple was able to kind of track and answer the roam, MMD is able to come back to the top lane. He did start with the Targon's the Relic Shield, and so one of the things about Relic Shield Gangplank start on patch 8.3 is that you get the Bandit passive, and the 75 health from Relic Shield is basically the same amount from a Dorn's Blade or Dorn Shield. Actually, Muujin gets the blue buff smited away by Kongyu, and they lose blue buff, and they're not able to give it to Maple, and that's super important for Maple to be able to maintain and push back this Talia. Uniboy is now pressuring him along with Kongyu, using the vision to track Maple's pushback. Uniboy now has the priority of the wave, and without the blue buff for Maple, he's not able to actually match Uniboy's wave clear, and Uniboy is just going to go ahead. He doesn't have to fight Maple. In a lot of Talia matchups, you don't really necessarily need to go for trades. You just want to be able to push back and look for roams and assist the side lanes. Woo! Who got first blood? It was Flash Wolves. So what happened was Kongyu had invaded onto Muujin, but Muujin was able to fight him back and force Kongyu to flash, and at that point Uniboy had already committed. Even though Uniboy did pick up a kill onto Muujin, Maple killed Uniboy as Uniboy's last auto connected onto Muujin. So Maple got the first blood for himself. And that's why the gold lead is kind of in Flash Wolves' favor. Although it's not that much. No turret leads on either side. 0 turrets taken. It's just about 400 gold lead. CS differentials are somewhat similar. About 15 CS down from MMD in the Gnar matchup, which is understandable. Range will always. But on this patch, whenever you're Gangplank and you have Relic Shield and you have Kleptomancy, just being down a kill or being down a few CS, you could be down 30 CS and Gangplank will still beat you. As we can see that Gnar has opted into Tabby Boots and a Phage, which is about like 222.50 worth of gold. Gangplank is almost done with his Trinity Force, which is about 3,000 worth of gold. He just needs another 333 for the completion of the Trinity Force, which he should have by now already. So it's just insane. Maple's gonna find, oh, Glacial Prison comes out from Mugen, just scares away Uniboy and Kongyu for the moment, but gives Maple the time to just push away Kongyu as he forced, but now the Abyssal Voyage from K, they're going to try to fancy and engage, but Flash Wolves are able to group safely with their bot lane, so now it's just a 4-on-4, kind of a straight formation. Maple is denied, actually gets a lot of chunk damage. Wow, that overload damage is insane. K is actually getting chunked a lot here. He's going to flash away from the Glacial Fissure. K is going down solo. Mugen gets flashes on and gets the kill, but Maple has been left to die from his own teammates, and Kongyu picks up that kill for himself. Weaver Wall is going to cut off at any potential escape paths, and now Leon has made the teleport. MMD will not wanting to be teleported. He does not have the cannon barrage as he already used it. 3-on-4. Can Flash Wolves make it out safely? Looks like they should be able to just walk it out. They did not have the Mega Gnar for long enough to be able to make a potential Gnar Flash engage. They do have Dragon Priority now. Well, it looks like they'll just use it to scope out some vision. Actually, they're not going to take out the control? Okay, well, Uniboy will push in the wave first. Let's take a quick look at that. So 4-on-4 at the moment right now. Glacial Prison is down. They do have Glacial Fissure, which is what they kind of go for onto the engage. But you have to look at Maple's positioning relative to his team. So Maple goes for Uniboy and forgets that Kongyu was zoned out over there and doesn't realize that Mugen and Sword Art commit super hard for K, which is what puts Maple in the bad spot and is the reason for his death. So unlucky there, but whew. Keep my throat all salivated and make sure it doesn't get too dry. Now looking just back into this game, Kongyu has now completed the Warriors Enchant and the mobility boots off of that kill. It's really important now. He should have some priority in the jungle, being able to threaten assassination potential onto Mugen or Maple if they ever roam too far. Remember that Maple on this rise, actually they're going to go for the assassination potential right now. Maple does not have any sums from before, does not get the seismic shove, and Glacial Prison also scuffs the engage from Mad Team, and Maple is able to walk it out alive. Uniboy will use the threaded volley just to push in that wave, though. Force Maple to have and to tend to that wave. Gives Uniboy and Kongyu an opportunity. Actually, Kongyu's going to find Mugen, but he's not that high of a health, and he's going to get stunned by the permafrost. Can he leap out? He just leaps at the last second, but it's not enough. Red buff eventually kills, and Kongyu gets soloed by the full tank Sejuani. This is just... You can't make mistakes or overestimates like that. And I think Kongyu was either just... Oh, actually, nope. Maple's going to Realm Warp over to the top. What? Okay. Realm Warp is just used to scare off Leon, force him to kind of question what he wanted to do. Was there a solo kill? I'm assuming that's what happened because MMD wasn't there. Oh, yeah, so he goes in for... Oh, no, we can't get a chance to look because Cannon Barrage engage has started. Sword Art throws out the Glacial Fissure. K is going to get chunked really low, but Breeze is half health, so he wants to stay away from Mugen. True Shot Barrage is thrown out and chunks the three members of Mad Team a little bit even more, but Mad Breeze has to be careful of these Iceborne Gauntlet Mystic shots now that Betty has it under his belt. Weaver Wall is actually going to be thrown out. It looks like Kongyu went for the assassination backside, but now he's going to be reliving some dark days of a couple minutes ago where he got soloed by Mugen, and now Kongyu has not able to get to the bot side of the map to assist his team. So because of the health bars on Mad Team, they have to back away, and the threat of a Glacial Prison being able to catch one of them out is just too much for them to actually risk staying to protect this bot wave. So Betty and Sword are going to be able to push this in. Potentially, if Mugen stays on the bot side of the map, they can actually go for first brick Muji's going to start taking up this blue buff. Maple has the push priority after taking advantage of the fact that Uniboy went to help. He'll push in that wave. They're going to pass the blue buff onto Maple here, and they get first brick. So just nicely played from Flash Wolves to be able to just play it safe and make sure that they don't get caught out. Mujin actually taking a lot of damage. Breeze is going to flash for this, but the Aftershock passive basically keeps him alive in combination with Glacial Prison, but now Betty's in the bad spot. He's going to get devoured, and Kongyu picks up the kill. It's 2-1 on this Kha'Zix. He's going to need that after his last poor decision in fighting against Mujin. Needs the Dustblade as soon as possible if he can try to make some more assassinations attempts possible. But unlucky for Betty, but that was really well played from Mujin, being able to use the Glacial Prison to proc the Aftershock passive, gave him that huge flat amount of armor and MR to keep himself alive, to practically living at almost under 50 health. So incredible stuff. Cannon Barrage is thrown out to basically help push the wave. Kongyu secures the Mountain Drake. First dragon of the game for this second game of the series. Looks like next dragon will be Mountain. So one condition now that springs up for Mad Team is that if Kongyu can just shrug off the mistake that he made earlier against Mujin, and he can continue pressuring with this full lethality Dustblade build that Kongyu will most likely build. If they can control the vision, actually, Weaver's Wall is going to try to make an attempt to cut off their path, but Flash Wolves are able to make it to safely. It gives Maple an opportunity to push in and get the first mid-tier turret. These rotations from Mad Team are great in effort, but the execution is just lacking a little bit, and Flash Wolves are able to punish and get the objectives they can on the backside of these macro errors from Mad Team. So, but as I was saying, with Mountain Drake, if you can get another Mountain Dragon as well, with Kha'Zix and Tristana, you can threaten a fast Baron early on. Or in fact, if you got two team members off, including the jungler, you can threaten Baron. As Kha'Zix is really fantastic at being able to speed take neutral objectives. The isolation passive gives him that empowered taste their fear damage. Liang is going to pop the Blast Cone in just a moment. He's trying to look for MMD. Pops it over now that MMD has lost vision. Liang might try to go for a trade, but he opts out of it. Just going to take the safe way around. Looks like TP comes from Sword Art to try and protect this top tier 1 turret as much as they can. Unsealed Spellbook still somewhat relevant on this patch for some champions. Usually you see Guardian or even Glacial Augment also taken on Braum, but Unsealed Spellbook definitely has its merits if you can play around the summoner spell cooldowns just right. Let's see. Iceborne and Moramana has now been completed already for Betty, and this is the power of Kleptomancy. So despite the fact that Breeze has a kill lead and onto Betty, and Betty has 2 deaths under his belt, he's still able to hit his 2-item mid-game power spike faster than Breeze, because he's still sitting. He still hasn't gotten a chance to finish his Infinity Edge for his 2-item power spike combo. He just has the Shiv. He did go for Berserker Greaves early on, whereas Betty's still sitting on the Tier 1 Reeboks. Does not have the Reebok Classics quite yet. He might even opt in for some Vans off the wall. He goes for the cooldown boots. But they still have power in this Talia Kha'Zix combo. Actually, the Realm Warp is going to catch out K here. He might not be able to make it out alive, and Breeze just cannot get in position. But actually, the Liang Mega Narf throws 2 into the wall. Mujin flashes in for the kill on the K. MMD has now arrived, but now the fight has been split up. Betty is by himself, but Breeze actually goes down to MMD, and now MMD is on the rampage. The pirate is angry. Meanwhile, Maple is getting soloed by 2 people. Leon and Uniboy are actually going to pick up the kill on the Maple. The fight was so split that there was too many things to catch. MMD was on one side of the fight with Mugen, focusing down K. Betty and Sword Art were left to the dust on the other side of the map. Breeze went in for the kill and died. Oh my lord, I need a replay for that. That was just so much stuff happening. God bless. All right, so K is caught out here. Mugen and Sword Art go for the engage, and Realm Orb is used by Maple to try and make a pick here. Breeze comes in, but it's not a good angle for him to come into. Gets zoned off by Maple, but Leon, great teleport, lands 2-man knock-up on to Mugen and Sword Art. And Sword Art and Betty basically then go for the 2v2, but because Sword Art was already chunked, Kongyu and Breeze does a lot more damage. But this is at this time MMD comes in to try and zone off Kongyu, but Uniboy and Leon are still up and they still have threat. And because Mugen was chunked out from the first part of the engage, Maple has no support, and Maple goes down for it as well. So just back and forth fighting, and overall it actually favored Kongyu the most because he now has the Dustblade completed. Along with the mobility boots and the warrior enchantment. Oh my, woo! I forgot to get some water. Throat is being a little dry. Anyway, he has a lot of assassination potential. No one on Flashwell's back. Well, let's see. Let's take a look here. So, Tabby Boots is practically on everyone except Maple and Betty. But for Betty, it doesn't matter because he has Iceborne Gauntlets, so he has the armor to be able to negate a lot of Kongyu's assassination burst. But Maple's pretty susceptible, even with the health from Rod of Ages. Kongyu has a chance to do a lot of work to Maple in these team fights. And if he can get enough time onto Betty, he won't be able to one-shot Betty, but he can chunk him out and go for potentially assassination if it's clean enough and he has the isolation damage if he's not around Sword Art. But MMD is now past the point where it's like Gangplank is quote-unquote weak. He has the Trinity Force in addition to the Sterix Gauge. It looks like he's working on potentially an Infinity Edge with that BF sword, or he could go for the Guardian Angel to give him some anti-assassin survivability against Kongyu, allow MMD to walk forward in team fights. And I mean, this Sterix Gauge Trinity Force combo is just so potent ever since they buffed the base damage that you get from Sterix Gauge. It's not just on Gangplank. Camille does really well with it. A lot of bruisers. Lowy can do great if she goes for Trinity Force instead of Black Cleaver. It's really great in solo queue too. If you're really ahead as a top laner and you can build Trinity Force, go for Sterix Gauge. It's just so nice because then you can build tankier but still have a lot of reliable damage. Maple is going to deny Kongyu the opportunity to clear out that ward, and he will be able to get the control ward in reward for his efforts of maintaining vision. And here's that Rise Wave clear that we were talking about. It's not even that disgusting yet. It's just getting easier now. So he's able to, if he's in the mid lane against Uniboy, he's able to negate most of the push potential advantage that he does have. I mean, Kongyu's still a high-profile threat, but if he just walks in and face checks a Braum or a Sejuani and gets Glacial Fissured, gets Glacial Prison, he's a squishy bug. He will get squashed. So he can't just walk in and be like, "Hey, what's up? 1738." Yeah, he's not Fetty Wap. He just can't just be like, "What's up? Hello." No trap queen for him. All right. Frozen Mountain and Black Cleaver completed for Leon, so he does have the potential to be able to kite MMD, but MMD just does so much damage now that it's difficult for Leon to go for an extended all in. So, and MMD has been doing really well for this game. His cannon barrages have been where they needed to be for the most part, aiding in team dives or getaways and escapes, or just overall slow utility. And in that last fight, MMD was able to pick up a couple kills for himself. I haven't been able to see how his barrel gameplay has been quite yet. Probably would be the only other thing that, if his barrels are on point in these team fights, then most likely he will. I would put him down for MVP candidacy already. Betty has died 3 times. Still farming well enough, though, to be relevant and output some damage in these skirmishes and fights. Maple, 2 deaths. Does have the 3-item power spike in the Morellonomicon, along with his already completed Rod of Ages fully stacked. Seraphs now completed from the Archangels. Mujin has actually gone for a very... did not go for the Warmog's first item, which is something that we see on a lot of Sejuanis when they are in a lead to carry. Does give them a lot of... does give them significant damage output in their Flail the Northern Winds health bonus ratio, or bonus health ratio, and allows you to go for extended siege situations. You soak up a lot of damage, and then using the Warmog's passive, you escape combat for 8 seconds, and then you heal back all of your health. He actually goes for the Knight's Vow. So because Sword Art already opted in for Locket of the Iron Solari, they had Mujin go for the Knight's Vow just to give his carries a little bit of extra protection. It looks like he's actually chained to Maple. They find Kongyu and Uniboy on the top side of the map. Glacial Prison is used, and Uniboy will answer with his own Cleanse. That engaged potential is scuffed, but Betty is getting a lot of Iceborne Gauntlet procs on the K, forces him to use the Gray Health to try and get away from that situation. I think Cleanse was also burned from K as well in that extended fight. So far, 2 sums burned for 1 ultimate, 2 ultimates from Flash Wolves, really just 1 engage tool. So really, really good stuff from Flash Wolves, just using, I mean, this is the power of Ezreal, though, with Iceborne Gauntlet. Actually, Weaver's Wall is going to come in, and now Kongyu finds himself onto the wrong side of the tracks. K actually went in for the engage as well. Kongyu goes down, and now K is by himself. He does have Flash. He's going to use it over the wall. Barely lives. Great health is going to keep him alive at about 100.5 HP, but MMD flashes in and gets the kill on the K, and now the Catfish is dead. Anar is also dead. The Prehistoric Beast has gone to the depths of Summoner's Rift. He will spawn back in about 45 seconds, but it is enough time for Flash Wolves to be able to secure this Baron. Sword Art will stand as guard, preventing anyone from trying to steal the Baron. This will not be attempted to be a steal, and MMD just popping off, man. Like, let's see. I kind of want to focus. So, Kongyu and K try to plan an assassination attempt by going around, but he fakes checks into Mujin, and they could have gone on to Betty. It just as soon as he saw where the team positioning was, he just was not in the right place. He was where Mujin could have easily intercepted. And let's see, what does MMD do? Gets the good old flash parlay. Lands. Actually doesn't get that many barrels in that fight, which I always love seeing really cool barrel combos. It's probably the most expressive part of skill that Gangplank has to offer. Flash parlay isn't the most hard thing to do, but he went for it. So, you know, there's credit for that. Actually, oh, this is interesting. MMD has opted into Essence Reaver. It's a little strange for me. But the way I see it is that it will give him the mana refund whenever he crits. However, I don't think just when you if you crit a barrel, I don't know if it gives you the mana sustain. Well, Breeze is actually getting chunked for a crap ton of damage. True Shot Barrage will not find its mark, but it will allow Flash Wolves to get that bottom tier 2 turret. But I don't know. Essence Reaver is just gonna give him mana. He's gonna. Oh, poor Leong tried to TP to lane to try and assist with this siege defense, but finds a rise, gets rune prisoned, and there's no escape. That's all she wrote. poor Leon. Breeze is going to try to do his best to clear out this wave. Throws out the Buster Shot to push Betty and Sword Art away. Gives MMD an opportunity to push into this top tier 2 turret with the Baron. They're also going to get the mid tier 2 turret on this push as well. So 3 turrets so far accomplished. Almost a 5,000 gold Baron power play. And it's just echoing what happened in the first game. We saw that Mad Team, and honestly, Mad Team had almost a similar gold lead, if not less. And it was only a matter of time until Flash Wolves reached the power spikes that they needed. In this case, they weren't waiting for Betty, they were waiting for MMD. Sword Art is in a bit of a pickle, is going to have to flash away from the seismic shove so he doesn't get caught out into the Unraveled Earth combo. But MMD by himself has been able to take the inhibitor. He has basically walked top lane. Oh, Maple actually is going to have to realm warp out of there. Does have the explosives charge shot. He's going to be able to survive. MMD pops the stopwatch to buy some time. Glacial Prison was used also as well to save his life. But the damage from Maple might secure the kill. The Cannon Barrage will actually pick up the kill on Breeze for MMD. Leon jumps in, throws Maple against the wall, and he will pick up that kill. Retribution for his team. But Mugen was able to pick up a catfish for himself as well. 1 down for 2. This will still allow Flash Wolves to push in onto the mid inhibitor. They've already taken the bot inhibitor as well. If they can get this mid inhibitor, there'll be the double super minions will be flooding into the base. Just one more auto. There it is. Sword Art and Mugen will be able to kite their way out. And now we are looking at dire straits for Mad Team. With triple inhibs down, you're going to have 2 super minions in each wave coming in. It's going to be extremely easy for Flash Wolves to take everything off the map from Mad Team. And it's only just a matter of time before they come back. They just siege in and herald in the super minions. And then it's just over. We do have the inhibitor spawn times coming up. So 4 minutes. Flash Wolves have 4 minutes to basically end it before inhibitors come back up, and they have to go for kind of a split push strat again. But at this point, I mean, you can still continue to send MMD and Maple into side lanes to push in top and bot, and herald those super minions in, and then you can send the Mugen, Betty, Sword Art trio mid lane and herald those minions in. But it should be easy closing out at this point. MMD now completing the Infinity Edge in addition to his Essence Reaver. That was just a quick point earlier. I normally see Infinity Edge or like a Zeal item finish before you start getting an Essence Reaver, but does still offer 20% crit. He has 40% crit now. Actually, Glacial Prison is going to find Kongyu, and this bug will not last for long. He actually is able to flash away, but Betty picks up Leon in exchange, and Mugen tries to flash onto Breeze, but he's able to rocket jump away to safety. Betty is just trying to fire these Mystic shots onto the rest of Mad Team. This is what we were talking about. It's just a matter of time. 1 down on Mad Team. They're not going to be able to protect this siege for as long as they can. But it doesn't look too good. Betty's just going to continuously fire Mystic shots. K goes down. The Catfish is down. Breeze is going to be leaving. Oh, the super minions are in the base. This is tower defense to the maximum. They cannot defend themselves, and they just clean everyone out. Oh, what a BM way to end the game. Asserting their absolute dominance. Flash Wolves end the game and end the series 2-0. MMD looking extremely pleased with his performance on Gangplank in that game. Oh, man. Oh, man. Ooh. Sword Art giving the good old high five to Betty. Say, hey, man, you fed and died a crap ton of times, but we did it. We won. So, as always, it feels good. If you've ever played those flex queue games or normals when you have all your buddies around you and you're like, damn, I fed super hard. But you always got that one guy, and, you know, honestly, those 2 guys were Mugen and, I mean, Maple was doing his best. He just, unfortunately, just had some positioning errors. Not most likely all of his fault. just team priorities were on different targets. Mugen was diving towards backline instead of peeling for Maple from assassination threats of Kong Yu and whatnot, but it's all good. MMD was on Gangplank, and K is just absolutely like, well, there's nothing much I could have done there, team. Just relaxed in his chair, leaned all the way back. Breeze talking it over with his coach, trying to figure out what he could have done better, going over some notes. I mean, Mad Team shouldn't feel extremely like harsh. It's not like it was a match they were predicted to win. It's not like it was a match they had, you know, they should have won. But you always want to try your best. And, you know, I think the problems there that Mad Team were stressed and frustrated about is they did have somewhat gold leads, or they had opportunities to accelerate gold leads that just did not have the tools to get through the early mid-game on their side before Flash Wolves just pulled the trigger. And as soon as one of those... in both games we saw, as soon as Flash Wolves found that one good mid-game fight, it was never an early game skirmish, it was never a mid-game skirmish, it was a full-on, just, or actually kind of was in both senses, because Breeze was killed and exploited in the first game in kind of that back-and-forth skirmish. And in the second game, there's the skirmish onto the top side of the map. They forced back 2. And actually it was Mad Team's decision to go back in and try to go for the desperation assassination play. And but K and Kong Yu were not on the same page. They didn't go for the right targets. K was overextended without cleanse. He had to flash away. Kong Yu also had to flash away. And just the spread out positioning of Flash Wolves while still being in relative proximity to each other basically did not allow Kong Yu to assassinate or isolate anyone off from the team. And because K was kind of his only way out and escape, and K was also left to the dust, and with 2 down, it's just the easy Baron play. And then in both games, as soon as Flash Wolves got the first Baron, they closed out the game from there. Huge Baron gold lead, took out multiple objectives. I think in both games, they at least got like 4 or 5 turrets with each Baron push. And they just had the tools to do it. They had effective split pushers in the top lane. They had mid laner champions that could roam easily or collapse back onto the mid lane in Ryze and Galio, despite not necessarily having TP. So it's just... their composition just had just a lot of safety tools. And they picked up a few kills on the Betty and Maple as well. It just unfortunately, Mad Team did not have the execution necessary to pull off a composition like this Kha'Zix composition it did. And I think I'm honestly just not necessarily... a couple of glaring mistakes was the aggressive invade on early on into the blue buff, where Kong Yu goes on to Mugen, and just underestimated the amount of trading potential that Mugen actually had with the Aftershock passive. Maybe that might be one of the first replays we get. Oh, what is this graphic issue? We're actually just going to look at where the gold lead started to balloon for Flash Wolves. So this is where they got the pick on Decay. Leon teleports in, is going to throw Sword Art and Mugen into the wall. Buys time for K to get over. And Maple flashed over, and this is why he gets chunked, because then he gets put in a bad spot. This is also where Kong Yu and Breeze come into the fray and zone off Sword Art and Betty away from Flash Wolves. MMD comes, zones off Kong Yu, but because Maple is all by himself without any real assistance from Mugen, he gets killed. And so, I mean, this was an opportunity because those kills went to Uniboy and Kong Yu. I mean, they could have ballooned the gold lead further, but by the time that skirmish happened, it was actually already too late. Betty had already completed his 2 items, was working on his 3rd. The power spikes were already starting to favor Flash Wolves, even though it was like that fight turned out, 2 for 3 in favor of Mad Team. those kind of skirmishes needed to happen earlier, where the tankiness from Mugen and Sword Art are not, they don't have the tank items quite yet, and so it's easier to assassinate and clean up those targets, and therefore you have all these easy pickings onto Betty, onto Maple, onto MMD. But he had Trinity Force, and he had Sterak's Gauge already, and so it's just, yeah, you know, it's just unfortunately just little too late. And normally, if my co-caster chairman was here, I would just let him translate and get some more insight. They would do an interview. They're going to do an interview as well. So, for the remaining time, as you can hear, I did not grab enough water for myself, and my my voice is already starting to crack a little bit, but just go ahead and, for any of you interested in case you do understand Chinese or the dialect, turn it on so you can listen to it for yourself. I will keep it on, but this will be the end of the casting for the day. We just had the one series, and then we'll have another series tomorrow. I believe it is Team Afro versus Hong Kong Attitude. So and that should be a fun game to watch. I want to see Hong Kong Attitude try to make a comeback. It's really depressing just to watch them continuously lose.
下路兵进，那这个时间点会刚好让中路也不需要调兵的前提去做跑线，然后下路也会压力大到说必须得放人。但反过来看，这场 MAD 试着去杀上路的时候，其实刚普朗克根本没有当你是一回事，甚至有几波兵是已经兵进来了，但他也没有退，他就是表示说我直接清掉你就杀不了我了。那我觉得这就是判断上的差别。你想要进攻哪一条路线，你必须确定能不能杀。你在对线过程中有没有换到足够的血量可以击杀这个人？那很明显这边可以看到刚普朗克是并没有被换到那么多血，所以他没死。那反过来下路呢，我们可以看到就是他血量掉比较多，所以上坦克奇会直接被杀，而且下路是一个4打2的局面，所以比较容易造成击杀，也是很合理的。
对，那我们来看一下在本场比赛结束之后的一些数据结算面板哦，因为这场看起来的话，其实在经济上面的差距是还蛮大，闪亮掌握了绝大部分的经济领先。在伤害上面来说的话，雷兹打了20.1K， 另外一边 Ezreal 是30.3K 的一个输出。那在 Metin 这里的话，就以小炮的25.8K 输出为最高，接下来的话是 Uniboy 的19.4K。但是其实我觉得这场比赛 Uniboy 在整个跑线上面来说，好像没有就是塔利亚应该要做到的一个事情哦，豆豆老师。
因为我觉得主要其中一个原因就是，我觉得空月他并没有发挥出卡莉丝这只角色 OP 的点，就是他应该在中期的时候利用他隐形不断的进对方的野区，然后抓到可能落单的人，甚至布好更多的视野，那可以让他的整个队伍会有更多的选择。因为这一场经常看到的问题就是，第一个是他没有一直去进对方野区，没有去看对方人在哪里，结果就变得 K 他一定要自己单独走进去清眼扫眼，所以每次的会战开启都是闪电狼看到一个单独的 K 就直接开他了，然后开下去之后，我觉得在这个就是开始点就是对 NAD 很不利，因为他们有了塔利亚，就是要瞬间的多打少的优势就完全发挥不出来。
对，就等于是在队伍还没有集结之前，其实你的队友就已经先被打残了嘛。而且这一场比赛看起来木俊的表现是不是非常非常的优异啊，肉肉老师？
我觉得这场以一个就是猪女的玩家来说，就是他打得非常非常的就是很稳，就是他有成功抓到对方的位置之后，而且他在会战的发挥，尤其是开战，他都是很果断，所以可以帮助队友很容易找出破口。
对，我们也来看一下本场比赛结束之后的 Key Player 交到哪一位选手手中吧。最后是交到了木俊选手手里，318的战绩，176 CS 使用的英雄是10瓦尼尔。室友老师，你可以帮我们大概就是总结一下这两场比赛里面，尤其是第2场比赛木俊的一个表现。
第2场比赛的话，我觉得最简单的判比就是这个，两边打野最好判断的方式很简单，一边要塔杀上路，但是只有中上去杀，打野并没有去；另外一边要杀下路，打野每次都准时到，而且是都有做到事情。那这就是一个很大的分水岭，就很简单，就是一边在刷怪嘛，一边在做事。那这边就可以看出来差别在哪里。
那今天也是非常的恭喜闪电狼成功的再度拿到了1胜哦。那最后我想请周老师，你可以帮我们就是大概总结一下，你觉得接下来 Mad Team 要怎么样子的调整，才可以把他们大概找回在可能过年前的一个状态呢？
我觉得在第一点就是自己选手上的就是套路就是一定要更多，因为其实真的看得出来，以2场来看，就是小亮拿到这种斗士型的时候，这是真的比较可以 carry 全队。但相反的是，他需要的关注就更多，就是不管是中路的 Uniboy 啊，甚至打野，不管是空月，甚至是 Benny， 都一定要给他更多的照顾。就会看到以这一场为例，就是他们的下路经常就被塔杀，那塔杀之后，其实微风的发育就会更低，所以他们还是需要找到更好的平衡点。
就等于是可能需要有更多的一些队伍的套路跟选角的选择啦。那今天也非常谢谢2位老师陪我们来看今天的一个比赛，我们马上把我们的画面交给分析这个采访区的 Rex 吧。
好的，谢谢分析台的一个老师。那各位观众们，欢迎来到赛后访问的环节，我是这个今天的代班主持人 Rex 啊。那在我身边，请到的是我们闪电狼的上路咪咪蛋。
大家好，我是咪咪蛋。
OK， 咪咪蛋，很久没有看你来这边了。这个小弟也是第一次来。你老实说，你是不是今天上来之后呢，希望是看到阿姨，就看到我有没有点失落感？
不会啦，我们把握每一次能够上来的机会，然后其实男的也不错嘛，可以。
讲什么东西？好吧，那这场在第一场比赛之中呢，我们看到咪蛋跟这是第2场使用的这个冈普朗克。其实冈普朗克在之前比赛也有出来，但是那时候起手装备会选择带污浊药剂，今天带的应该说最近要带绿跳。你觉得这2个装备之间你会怎么样去做选择？
你觉得你对线会比较有压力的话，你可以起污浊，因为只要你被推线然后被打血的话，那就投不到钱了。按照你觉得对线比较可以的话，就可以出绿跳，这样赚的钱就比较多。
哦，原来是个大富翁流啊！那这个大家也知道嘛，在闪电狼这一季呢轮替的阵容中，其实加了比较多的新成员。那咪咪蛋自己看起来的话，你跟火龙在上路可能角色之间会有什么样的差别吗？
就可能火龙的打法比较狂，对，因为我看他的收 Q 不是10几杀，不然就10几死。
你说要么就是非常厉害，要么就是对
啊，但是就是这种选手才会强，这是我跟他的差别吧，就是我要学习他的地方。
那你有没有？
虽然他是新人
哦，那你有没有其实在这一季你有没有考虑过尝试让自己比较去突破一下自己的极限这样？
很想啊，最近在突破中，所以都在下面滚。
可是我觉得你这韩服的分数不错啊，对不对？这就要问一下，因为其实，在这一季呢，我们知道咪咪蛋选手他本身在轮替的时候，可能不是每一场都可以上场，但是我想问一下，在这样的情况下，你是怎么样去保持住自己的状态？
其实就多想一下自己哪里到底不好，然后多打一点 solo Q， 就是 solo Q 打蛮多的，然后就是玩一些自己不太常玩的角色，对。
但是你这个韩服的分数，之前大家也知道嘛，曾经爬到前10嘛。那这个你也知道，目前闪电狼呢，其实还有另外一位在这个年前的时候呢，爬到了韩服第1，就是我们的 Betty 选手。那你有没有考虑跟他双排一下？
我跟 AD 双排通常都会很惨。
你说的很惨是说，比如说就像可能今天一样吗？你是不是觉得他在戳你？
没有啦，Betty 怎么可能戳我？韩服第1耶。
哎呦，闻到一些什么？但是我的确是要说，就其实2位看起来在最近的比赛中状态看起来都还不错。那如果是这样子的话，因为咪咪蛋很久没有看到你来这个地方，你要不要趁机跟你的支持的粉丝讲一下话？
就可能不太常上场，但是我会继续加油，对。然后希望大家继续支持大家，好不好？支持闪电狼。
人不错嘛，就是除了支持你，也支持其他闪电狼的意思，对不对？
没错。
哇，不愧是我们的老大，可以，好不好？那这边我们先谢谢咪蛋，但是在今天的比赛结束之后呢，我们一起来看一下目前 LMS 的战绩表哦。在这个战绩表的部分呢，闪电狼在今天拿下了比赛胜利之后，目前是6胜0败。那接下来是 J-Team 的4胜1败 ，G-Rex 的4胜2败 ，M17 的3胜3败，以及 Mad Team 的目前3胜4败，以及 Team Afro 2胜3败 ，AHQ 2胜5败 ，HK 0胜6败哦。那就看一下这个在今天的比赛结束之后呢，明天我们即将要进行的赛程是什么呢？明天即将进行的是我们的 Team Afro 以及 HKA 的 BO3 对决，那就看一下 HKA 能不能拿到他们的第1胜，或者是 Afro Gaming 能够趁着这个今天 Mad Team 落败的时候呢，想办法把自己的排名再往前拉一点哦。那以上呢就是我们今天的赛后访问的部分，我是今天的主持人 Rex，
我是咪蛋，
没有错，好不好？那明天比赛我们再见喽，大家拜拜。